Welcome back, everyone, to the Away Day show. Massive weekend of football. There was comebacks, there was 3-1s galore, there was goals galore, and our first 0-0 for the Premier League this season. And of course, Chelsea deliver out there, stinking up the gaff at the moment. But boys, how do we see the weekend?
Yeah, well, great Saturday night. I was watching the other games with Flynn. Like,
Great
not
fixtures.
great in terms of like from a United point of view, but in terms of like all the other games, like once United finished, we'll watching. We
went on to the Villa game really
with
quick.
Villa.
What a game.
And then, we went on to Spurs right after that.
Yeah.
To watch the end of the Spurs game, and then somehow the Villa game was still going.
Yeah,
after
Villa
the,
game
after
was
the
still
15
going.
minutes.
They played
Yeah, and
tonight,
the Spurs game was Ange again. Like I thought it would be. I was saying throughout the whole United game.
Oh, we were in agreement.
It was like a typical Spurs.
It would have been the
performance.
Spurs.
That's my Spurs.
Spurs.
But seriously, like it would have been like
Win the manager
the
month, win the player of
most
the month.
Spurs
then-
thing ever, you know, and
Maybe they
like,
turned the corner.
well,
Don't be too early.
I didn't watch enough of the game to know, like, did they play good football? Did they dominate the game?
They did dominate, but
Yeah, so I watched the last 15 minutes,
they did
10
dominate.
minutes.
They did.
but again, they've dominated in the past and not gotten results. So
Yeah,
it's
but
fair enough to say that.
yeah, I just thought it was such a Spursy moment, and then they came through,
And then
got the
Ange.
2 goals, and
I'll just might as well talk about what I learned for the weekend. Just that like Spurs are proper like decent, because again, like we look at other teams, like look at Arsenal, like everyone apparently slagged of Arsenal for being lucky, but it's not lucky if you get the result right. And for Spurs, it's about getting results, because in the past they haven't got results. And you look at that result, like, and especially from 2 guys that haven't been in great form. Richarlison's been in average form, poor form, hasn't scored at home,
goal
first
and
goal
an
at home.
assist.
Yeah, had just
And
come
it's-
off as well, like
and then
being subbed for
it's just-
Brazil, like
yeah,
the whole
exactly.
crowd.
yeah,
thing.
just had the whole
Kulusevski hasn't been the player he was
opened up on
last
his
year.
mental health and
And
everything.
Kulusevski scores a banger as well. Like 2 players that probably haven't performed well. And just like, yeah, I trust you guys, go on, and gets the bet. Like that's a sign of a good manager,
Yeah,
right?
that was pure class.
Yeah, I think like on the luck thing as well is that, you know, this obviously really pissed me off at the moment because like
He's infuriated.
I think it's, you know, I keep seeing this on somebody Twitter about how like, oh, our luck as not, you know, Arsenal's luck is gonna come to an end. But I think for Spurs, like to be fair to them, like if the underlying numbers are good, that's all you can really base it off. Like, you know, in a game, some shots go in, some shots don't, but like the underlying numbers will, like, you know, are the best sort of indicator if this is going to be consistent or not, right?
Definitely, yeah.
And to be fair to Spurs, like, you know, I think Liverpool got lucky against Newcastle. I think Spurs deserved to win that game, right?
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I mean, it's definitely the start of like an Ange era. Put it like that. I mean, I saw Off the Sport posted like a little trailer thing between the game where it was like, oh, it's cool, like the Ange, like. People have like, you know, people like want to like Tottenham at the moment. It's
the
like the
whole,
Ange disease or something.
yeah,
It's like, you know,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's fun.
It's contagious,
It was
the
funny.
Ange.
It was like, because you're so conflicted as like, I mean, all Prem fans, to be honest. No
100%.
one likes seeing
Yeah.
Spurs play
No.
well, but
Yeah.
like as an Aussie, especially,
like
like
Ange.
it's so hard not to like Ange at the moment. And
Even when they score, they celebrate. Everyone's going nuts. He just stands as this.
Yeah.
Like he just
Yeah.
screams.
I
Just
don't
like,
I think that's such a good indicator of a good manager.
Oh,
though,
he
eh?
doesn't get, like Mourinho
you know,
would have done the running up there in the line,
Yeah.
giving these ones. But
well,
he just
some
stood there.
do, but I actually love the managers who like just stay composed.
That's what I'm
Like,
saying.
you know,
It's a lot. I love
yeah, 100%. Some people don't. Some people want to see the managers all animated. Like, you
Passionate
know,
and stuff.
Arteta is very animated, right?
Bit of passion,
Like,
yeah.
passion is good,
to an extent.
but I
right?
also like to see that because it's sort of indicative of standards within the club.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, Ange is obviously very happy. And I think he did celebrate a little bit, to be fair, on the second
You
goal.
get- yeah.
But like, it's sort of indicative in the sense that like, it shows standards, right? You
expects
should
more,
be
right?
being,
Yeah.
you should
Should
be
be
beating
4-0.
Sheffield, like
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and so yeah, no, it was a great comeback win for Spurs. Sort of like, so obviously as we said, something they haven't really done in the past very
One thing
well.
I want to
and-
add is, well, when we look at the teams that are like up there and fighting,
Yeah.
we look at the likes obviously of City and Arsenal,
Yeah.
who were expected and probably going to run away with it a lot easier than most expected. Then you've got obviously Liverpool that might challenge for 6 months.
I've got
Maybe.
him. I've got him.
I don't know.
I had him third.
So might actually push the other
My
two
Chelsea
for a lot
prediction.
longer than anyone expected.
Yeah.
And then you actually look at that 4th position, like that 4th team, and you'd actually have to say at this moment, it's either Spurs or Brighton.
We could almost couple West Ham. I don't know how long West Ham's going to go for.
I just think the West Ham's game, I like the way West Ham play. I think they can finish like 6, 7.
Yeah, but
I
like,
don't
they'll
think
be
they can-
around the place for
They
long.
can't push the top 4 on. Would you
Okay,
agree with that?
I would 100% agree.
I reckon
Well, I
they'll
think
be
Brighton
in the
and
area though.
Spurs can.
I reckon they'll be in the area to a similar time as Spurs will be, because eventually the Spurs attacking things that wear out in them, and same as the
I'm
defensive
not
style
convinced.
of
I'm not convinced.
West
Yeah, I'm
Ham.
not convinced either. I think West Ham
I
is top
think-
10, 100%.
I think-
But
Well, you can work
I mean,
up
I'm
now.
not convinced that like Spurs necessarily drop off.
Because they
Like,
don't tire out playing how attacking they're playing. It's a tiring style of football. It is up and down, ping ball.
it
like,
is, but they're in
nothing.
nothing at
yeah,
all.
they're in nothing. Like,
They'll make a. Oh,
and they're already out of the cup. They're already out of the Carabao Cup.
So you
it's
only
like-
got
so,
FA
you
Cup
know,
to worry about.
Yeah, in terms of, I mean, there's a couple more international breaks and stuff like that coming up. So some players might go, and I know they've got a few, but I tend to think that like Spurs, yeah, I mean, they're playing like a good brand. And,
yeah.
Oh, amazing.
and I
It's
think
good in the
that, yeah, like great, really appealing, but also as in like it's easily identifiable, and you can see like they don't look like they're going to shy away from anyone, and they will consider. I mean, massive game this weekend, North London derby. Right,
It's
we'll
gonna be
touch on that a little bit
massive,
later,
yeah.
and I think
Are you
We'll
a little bit
watch
nervous
for
about
that.
I think we'll be doing a watch
We'll
along
watch
for
on
that
We'll
one.
Yeah,
watch
are
on
you
for that,
nervous?
Am I nervous?
Would you
The
say
most
more nervous
nervous
than
you'd
United
be
game?
normally for.
I don't
Than
know.
United game.
I was thinking about it. Definitely more nervous for the United game because I'm not sure how it's going to go. I think for
Got two ways.
Spurs,
It could go really.
I still don't think Spurs have had a genuine test yet.
No.
Against like a team who is solid at the back and can score, right? Like, you know, as in one of the big boys. I think this season is obviously City
Let's say-
and us.
Has Fulham been the hardest game they've played and they lost to them in the
They versus
Carabao?
United, but
Oh, United.
I don't know if you're
United.
counting United as a tough
Well,
game.
But right now, we can't really rate United. We don't know where
You know-
United to sit.
I think this game could go either one or two ways. I think either we could like really sort of
You
put them in their
you could
place
batter them, or it could be a
and
close
you know,
Tottenham win.
within 20, 30 minutes, we're like 2 or 3-0
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
I think it could definitely go that way.
Yeah.
But then again, like we got the Champions League midweek. There's just it's sort of a, you know, it's a big week for us, and like being our first Champions League game in 7-8 years or whatever it is. And I wouldn't be surprised if the lights get to us and we get a little bit like knackered from that or whatever.
Yeah.
Plus the fact that maybe Spurs really are the real deal, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
just miraculously turn them into this top 4 team.
I think they'll still obviously
And-
struggle though because they've
Yeah,
got
I
a
agree,
lack of
I agree.
depth.
I'm definitely
Their
too
starting
confident.
11 actually
That's where I'm coming from.
I'm still
quite good.
confident. Like,
Do they still have Benteke on their list?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. But right now, why
Would
would
he
you
get-
put him?
No, I'm
in
just
the
saying. I
moment?
don't think he hasn't been on the bench though at all.
put it like this, I was looking at the odds, and we're like
Is he
$1.60
injured or-
favourite,
He's still
right?
injured, yeah.
I was looking at the odds, and I was thinking, like, Jesus, if you're a Spurs fan here, like, you would be so confident. You'd be so, like, you'd be loading up on those odds. Because they're paying, like, $5.50.
Spurs fans have got to be confident because
wow, I might
No,
load
but, like,
up.
they're paying, like, $5, and it's like, you know,
you can catch Arsenal out on the
historically...
break.
No, but North London derbies, like, form is out the window. It doesn't matter, like...
I think any derby,
It's
yeah.
but as in, yeah, just, like, speaking on the history, right?
Yeah.
Like... And that's not to discredit Spurs saying that, oh, it doesn't matter. It's more so as in, like, on that day, it doesn't matter how good you are, how good you're supposed to be. It's just
you're completely
it's just,
right.
yeah, it's just like
You look at United over the years. against City.
anything can happen.
You look at United over the year against City. How many times we've been like terrible?
Yeah,
Ollie.
yeah.
We'll look at Ollie ball.
Or,
We
and
used to-
McTominay just like
double
bangs
over,
it.
yeah.
We're beating City like I think twice a year.
But
during
I
Ollie
think
ball.
with North London derbys, for me, they're the best derby because there is literally no form at all. Because there's times that Arsenal being awful, there's times Tottenham being awful, and they still get wins. Because I think at obviously all the derbies take form out of it, but for these derbies, like there is so much passion. Like it is
Yeah.
this is the biggest game for both clubs because the London derbies are so many teams that you sort of have to find your team, right? And that's
Yeah.
their team. So going into the weekend, like you never know. I think it could be a chance where Tottenham can stay in it and it's a high scoring close game, or it could be the case, like you said, in the first 30 minutes, if Arsenal are on one, they score 2 or 3 quick, you can almost
I can see
Close the game
both.
off.
I can see like, you know, either like we go obliterate them really
Yeah.
early, or I can see like a nail biter up into the 95th minute where 1-1 team scores a late goal and you know someone snatches a winner. I can see both happening.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
in the past, I would have definitely just said super confident.
Yeah,
I can't see
3-0.
Spurs. You know, I know Kane's going to score.
Yeah.
And to be fair, thank God there's no Harry Kane
Yeah,
because
he
he
would've
scores I swear to God in my lifetime, or at least you know my conscious lifetime.
Yeah.
This man scores every time
Every
we play
time.
them.
Yeah.
So Kane's gone, but
But here comes the
they're-
pigeon.
they're,
The pigeon's coming.
they're a different. They are a different threat nowadays, and it'd be so rich. I mean, I know he scored this week, but like it would have
come
been
in.
so Richarlison,
95th
like you
minute.
know, and it's just so Spurs for him to come and score like his first his first like couple goals, you know,
Yeah.
first double or triple
of
or
the
hat trick or
season,
something
yeah,
at the Emirates. But I think we're both different teams in the sense that you know I think we just sort of overcome some of our demons beating Everton
Everton
away.
away, that's a
First
hard
time
game.
under
Yeah.
under Arteta's reign, so like, you know, that's a massive win for the, you know, for the morale and sort of the mental factor. Like, you know, it's one of those like mental barriers.
Tick that barrier.
There's
right?
a couple of them. There's the Everton away one, obviously beating City just in general, and Liverpool at Anfield. And you know, I think ticking those at the start of the season, we would have looked at it like, as a fan, you would expect us to be able to replicate what we did the previous year. But what was holding us back was sort of like overcoming those mental barriers
those results,
that we've had since Wenger, like, you know, being sort of spineless, all these sort of things, these characteristics, right? That like we've had for years now. It's about sort of overcoming those, and you know, as an Arsenal fan, and the players in the dressing room and the manager, etc. That'd be like a massive tick for that one. So
definitely.
And then look, obviously you take each game on its own, and we'll be looking to obviously batter Spurs, but at the same time, like,
play the game.
I think for the overall objective of our season, that this win on the weekend was a massive one. So yeah,
we'll get touch back on that later in the episode. We'll get going the first game, big game, because considering what was happening. So Wolves 1-0 up early against
second
Liverpool.
time this year. City, that Liverpool have gone like down early.
Yeah, Huang on the score sheet again. Pedro Neto could have had an assist, another assist where Cunha basically just bottled the head, like he somehow hit it with his like face right in his head. So they could have been 2-0 up in the first 20 minutes. Then Liverpool just doing what Liverpool done best. You know, Gakpo involved again. I think Salah was more of a shot than a pass, landing his feet.
Yeah, I thought the exact same.
It looked like a massive. But the context, like, what an assist! I was like, I'm not sure, but it was more of a shot. Andy Robertson's 1-2 to Salah was perfect as well, and then Elliott finished off.
Was that Robbo's goal?
No, assist to Salah. Oh no! Oh yeah, it was 1-2.
Yeah,
so he played Salah and Salah played him back.
I just remember watching that thing. How the hell was Robbo in that position?
But they put everyone forward. There was a time you saw like almost all 9 sort of forward players basically in an area in the middle. They just packed the middle in and just said, we'll pass around you. But compared to their first half, Liverpool much better. We were talking about the McAllister thing last week about how he plays. They were sort of targeting him because he was on the ball a lot. Wolves were sort of targeting him with a counter press. Yeah. So things to look at when Gravenberch comes out.
I didn't watch that game, but was McAllister like sort of taking it deep?
He was taking it and carrying it.
Was he
forward.
picking it up deep?
He was picking up deep, yeah. He was out
so
a lot.
This is what I think.
The Gravenberch thing will help out, right?
I think definitely he's going to play a lot deeper because
I feel I nailed that.
If you look at if you look at like the profile of the players, he's probably the most likely to grab the ball off the defence.
So he did at Brighton, but played 1-2s rather than...
To grab, like, as in intercepted or?
No,
you mean pick it up? Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, collect.
He's like a deep line playmaker.
Sloboslai's not going to.
Yeah,
because he played a 10.
He's basically a right winger.
Speaking of, he played really well on the weekend.
Yeah, game.
He's been really good. And then Gravenberch has never really done that in his career. So unless you're going to get Endo, and I think Endo's more of a backup.
He's Europa League sort of player, right? But I think once you put Gravenberch in there with McAllister, just help out a little because some of McAllister's work at Brighton was more receive and give. He wasn't like turn and sort of carry the ball, was get it to feet and stop being out all these wingers, right?
Yeah, always that first time. So
they love that. It's a different sort of role now at Liverpool, but I think if you help with Gravenberch in a double pivot, that will help him out, right? Because he was the target for Wolves on the weekend to sort of counter press him and get the ball back. But we said Neto, great game. Cunha disappointing, but he's killing it at the moment. You're going to need some help though. Again, like obviously Huang scores now, but you need more
he's got
output.
3 as well, Huang this year.
But
all the
tough
strikers
again,
goals, man. Like Odsonne
Edouard. Edouard, Mateta's been good at assisting and stuff like that.
Edouard's got 4, am I correct?
I think 3
or 4.
I think he doubled in one game. If he doubled, he would have had 4 now.
He got another assist. Like he's racking up.
Solanke's doing a good job for. He probably hasn't had the same output, but he's looked good for.
Solanke was good. Was decent.
But Liverpool again, like they're just looking like that team's gonna beat up. In this case, didn't really beat him up, but
the only striker who can't score the goals is bloody Nicholas Jackson. Hit the post again, man. Oh my god, Raheem Sterling hit the bloody post. Oh my god, FPL this week.
How much time does Jackson have?
FPL was a
Jackson has so much time because there's no one really there who's going to take his spot.
Oh, you mean like as like a starter?
Yeah,
Broja is not going to solve their problems.
Well, Broja is back in training and he'll play when he's fit. But
do you reckon he'll come in straight over Jackson?
I don't think he's
not going to solve any problems in the future.
He starts
I would say Jackson. Yeah, he'll start making
30-minute cameos and he'll start scoring.
Think about going forward. I think Poch is looking at the team going forward. He's happy to cop at the moment because he wants to build something right for the next few years.
Again, no, I think Chelsea.
No, but Broja's been out. That's you got to think like that's the only reason.
He's good. He's a good player, but I think for going forward,
I think Amano Broja's really good.
Yeah. Tottenham. I think it's again Chelsea though. We've seen Chelsea and their fans and the way the board is. They're all right at the moment, but come match week 15. And they're still like they are.
About to win.
Oh, no. I still think Nicholas Jackson has a lot of time left. He's showing a lot of signs. He just can't put the ball in there.
He's more dynamic than what Broja.
You're saying that Poch is trying to like see through the storm pretty much
Yeah,
to
yeah.
try
I
and
think,
play.
I think he will.
Well, I saw a stat that they haven't been a top half team
Since like what, 2
since
years? Isn't it?
Feb of 2022.
Well, there's something like
Yeah, 2 years. Yeah.
That's 18 months,
Enzo's.
man.
Enzo's won like 3
Well, Enzo's
Premier
sick
League
of it.
games or something.
he wants
No,
out.
it's outrageous.
In like, and he played on a good like 25.
Mudryk made another game with no goal.
Yeah, so Mudryk is 20 games now,
Should we-
2 assists.
Is it Mudryk or Mudryk?
Mudryk. We'll
Mudryk.
might as well-
20
might as well-
games, 2 assists.
we'll go to that game now. Then since we talk about it, 0-0 again. Another draw for Bournemouth. Another draw. They can't
Chelsea
get a
should have
win.
won.
Chelsea should have won.
Yeah.
Once again, Chelsea should have won.
We talk
And
about-
just
But they got
can't
no
put the ball in
output
there,
up
man.
top.
Cole has the ball in the back of the net, offside. Raheem Sterling hits a cross, and Raheem Sterling, like the first chance of the game, sprays the ball like 90 degrees the other way when he's in front of the goal. So like,
How
it
good was
just
this
isn't
free
going
kick, by
their
the way?
way.
How good was that free
That was
kick?
good. Weird. Really,
That
was
was
weird.
that was like I mean, obviously not the same as Payet, but like sort of similar thing.
That sort of action,
Top
right?
like
Yeah.
left of the box,
Yeah.
and like
Bang.
whipped
It
it.
was power, was it?
Yeah,
Like, it was soft.
it wasn't as
was-
much like hoop, but as
Yeah.
in like it was it was
big-
so nice to look at.
A big sign is Chilwell's not starting now either.
He
Like,
he
what's going on there?
apparently had a knock.
But I don't believe that for a
No,
minute.
apparently Poch did say
Really?
in the pre-game interview. That's what the commentator said. That's what like
Yeah, okay.
Andros said.
I didn't watch the whole. I watched the highlights.
No,
but
I think Chilwell's fine. Like he came on.
he gets dragged every week, right? Like, and this week he
He
starts.
gets
on the bench.
dragged, but like I just think that
Is it-
I think Chilwell's alright.
You think, I think he's a good player, but I just
No, no,
is
but
he in
I-
the plans?
I mean this in like I still
Yeah.
think he's in his plans. Like
They're just missing that.
I know what you mean though. I know what
They're
you
just
mean.
missing that connecting link.
Like
it feels
Gallagher
like-
is sort of playing the highest in their midfield, and it's just
He's
like,
not been looking arguably one of
Yeah.
the best midfielders, but since
yeah,
Gallagher's
but
the
as
best
like a 10, he's
midfielder.
been playing like he played like a 10 on the weekend.
Yeah,
It was
he
just-
played
playing
10
as
most
a 10,
weeks.
but then he
It
drops
was
back,
really
so it's
weird.
weird.
It was
He's playing as a
really
weird. It's like they're playing 2 8s, but he's the higher of the 8s.
yeah, it was really weird.
Well, he is
It makes
the
sense.
player behind the striker, which Nkunku would naturally be, right?
Yeah, and Gallagher, although he's playing really good, and he's like
That's the problem. If he's your best
intercepting-
midfielder, you're in
No,
a
it's
bit
not
of
even about
problem.
him
Like,
being your best midfielder because he's got the ability to be a great midfielder.
He can't be a best midfielder, top 16.
I'm disagreeing with this, that you're saying that for him to be a best midfielder, but for him to be the player playing the balls.
I'm fine
to
with
your
that.
forwards. No, so I'm disagreeing. He's
fine
not.
You think
with
he's
that.
good at that?
He's not good at that. That's his worst thing.
I completely disagree.
He's good at intercepting.
Yeah, I think he's
I'm
like
not sure about
I think
picking the ball
like
up.
an
I think he's a bit of a workhorse.
Yeah, workhorse A.
I don't think he's
He's
good
not-
technically enough to play
I
in
don't-
that
I
deeper
don't-
role.
I
So
don't
you
know.
think he can, when you go look at the number 10s,
I'm
you
not,
think,
but here's where
you
I'm coming
think he
from.
can play
He's
balls
not.
like Bruno,
He's
like
not.
Odegaard,
I don't-
No,
like
you know
KDB.
what I'm saying. He's not technically quality enough to be with the likes of McAllister and those deeper playmaking players.
I think
who
he's closer
can-
to them than he is to the 10s.
Yeah, but he's not good enough to play
Yeah.
deeper. I'm
I
happy with
just don't know
him
if he's
sacrificing
good
him as
enough
number
to
10.
be in a midfield, to be
Yeah,
honest.
exactly.
good
That's
enough.
why I come from. He
Like,
can't be
no,
your
but
best
he's not
midfielder.
gonna be in the midfield.
Right now, he's
gonna
their
be
best
like,
midfielder.
Bro, think about it.
Nkunku just slides in.
They'll have 4 players when they're fit.
Chukwuemeka's
above
better
him.
than him.
They'll have
Enzo's better than
Enzo, Caicedo, Lavia,
Nkunku,
Nkunku.
Chukwuemeka's better as well.
Chukwuemeka
That's why he's
and
playing as a 10.
maybe-
He's not technically solid enough to play deep.
Whatever his name is.
Look at the deeper playmakers. He goes nowhere near those guys.
Ugo, Chuku, something like that.
Oh, he's out still
What's
for,
his name?
for a
No,
while.
he played.
Chukwuemeka for Chelsea played.
No. This other guy.
Oh.
His name is sort of spelled like
Oh,
Chukwuemeka. I don't know. Yeah, how do you say it, man?
Ugo Weka?
That's
He
essentially like-
played Leslie Ugo Chukwu. Leslie
For-
Ugo
Star.
Chukwu.
Oh, for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Did he
He
start?
plays midfield, doesn't he? As
Yeah,
well?
he played midfield.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
When he started?
Yeah, he started.
Who is he?
He played, bro. This guy.
He started for 20 mil. 20 mil from France, I'm pretty
He
sure.
played. But I didn't see him with the ball much, to be
Is
honest.
Caicedo injured?
Casado's
Yeah,
not been-
Caicedo's injured. Lavia's injured.
Yeah. Because
Lavia's
Casado's been
Lavia's
unfit.
out for ages, bro. It's so bad.
It's fine, but I think the point
So
is, once they
sad,
will come
bro.
back in, he's not playing that midfield.
Oh my god, you look at bloody Chelsea's squad.
How's Cole Palmer not getting
And
a
then-
game?
Well,
He looks so good when he came off the
Cole
bench.
will play. He'll play. No, but as in like
He'll play off a
you
flank
look at
as well.
Chelsea's squad on paper, and then you look at their bench, and you're like, where are all these players there? Their bench was Cole Palmer, 2 keepers I've never heard of,
You know, they're
Washington,
looking- They just signed him.
Matos,
Some like 17-year-olds.
Stutter, Matson.
Matson they
Matson's
signed
good.
as
Bro,
well.
they got
But Matson's been there. They don't do that to Chelsea.
Adam Gilchrist on the bench.
Did you see it?
Nah, Alfie, but
okay.
they got Gilly and then Chilwell. Like, bro, like
Yeah,
who
no,
are
that's a-
these guys? There's
The
so, you know,
injuries again at Chelsea.
Caicedo, Lavia, and Kunku, buddy. They got
Yeah.
so many players. And
What happened to Madueke?
Madueke.
Yeah.
I think
He's
he's
injured as well.
I thought he was on. I don't know. I'm not gonna make calls. now, bro, like,
He's been good as
I don't
well.
know. They have so many players in that team.
I think you're right.
and
Cole Palmer
everyone's
goes out in a flank. Whoever doesn't perform well.
Cole
enough,
Palmer will play on the right. Though.
Right,
He's
and
a right-sided left
Chuck
footer, like
Sterling
100%.
Chuck Sterling to the left.
Yeah, and I think Sterling.
We just look what he did.
I think Sterling is better on the
Community
left
Shield
It's
against
good.
Arsenal.
Well, when he came on, he scored the goal for Chelsea. Like,
Yeah,
it was a
like
cracking
I
game.
think,
he's got to be starting.
I think
That's why he left.
I think
Yeah.
Raheem would be better on the left anyway. I think he's more direct, and I know, and it will allow Chilwell to play in a 4 and overlap, and with the ball in rather than when Chilwell was playing, he was getting in really good positions. But he was a left footer playing sort of inside.
He's playing
trying
inside.
to get shots.
You can't
and
whip-
stuff.
you can't
It
whip
doesn't
balls
work,
like that,
man.
yeah.
Like let Chilwell get to the byline, whip it back,
Like Andy
back
Robertson
in.
would, right?
And you have Jackson in the box, and you have these really good finishers in the box.
Yeah. Clinical finishes. Can't believe I said that. I said clinical
Yeah,
finishes.
so
Well, Cole Palmer, when you just look at it, obviously he was going to get minutes at City off the bench. He was going to.
Well, you would have thought so.
He was going to get his
But
30
no,
minute
Oscar
cameo.
Bob-
So the reason
Oscar
he
Bob comes
came
on now as well. Like,
he came
they've got
to
so much
start.
depth there.
He didn't come to start next year. He came to start now.
Yeah, 100%.
Because there's no way he would have
But
left
he will.
City.
He will.
Because
Pochettino's blending him. He does the whole
But
thing.
how
Every
many
manager
players?
blend him in.
How many players can they start?
Start.
Like what
They
they
got
sign-
Mudryk
Like, yeah,
there that he
what they
wants.
sign
Mudryk
up.
ain't start. That was his chance. I said it in the
Mudryk-
predictions I gave for the
He's
weekend.
100
That was
mil
his.
there.
Again,
you
this is
you
where it
gotta
comes to the
persist-
owners.
you
The
gotta-
owners start forcing you to
You
start
gotta
people.
persist.
I
No,
don't
you
think
gotta
the Americans know how
persist
to
with
do
a
that,
100
they
mil.
do
You gotta persist with a 100 mil player, man. Like you
He
gotta
can persist,
persist.
but he
with
doesn't
that.
persist
Again,
at the
it's
start.
not Poch signing.
At the start.
It's not a Poch
I
signing.
don't know.
He's got something there. He needs to just
It's not a Poch
break
signing.
the duck. He needs to Nunez it. He needs to just have a good game.
Who, Mudryk?
Mudryk, yeah.
He's got nothing. He's got nothing there.
He
He's got
needs to break.
nothing.
He needs to break it.
Ukrainian fraud, man, is what he's.
He's quick. He's got the board. I don't know.
So
You've
you
got to
think
find a
Mudryk's
system.
got something there?
There's enough pace and
Poor
precision
Mudryk,
in his
man.
in his
Honestly,
game.
Like he
I
got-
think the way people have slandered other people, he doesn't even deserve like half the
No,
chance.
it's because he's 20 and
I know.
like, there's a bit to come with
You've
him.
never
and blah,
seen
blah,
him
blah.
play
Whereas-
other than. You
whereas
can't tell
old
me you've
mate,
seen him
like,
play before he came.
Watched. By the way, Anthony had one of his cases dropped. So one of the
One
girls dropped the
tick.
charges. There's one. One tick.
Tick. Oh, quickly on Bournemouth.
It
Though.
feels very different to the Greenwood one. Sorry, just on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Really
Yeah,
quick.
but it also
So
feels very different because one was like evidence in the
Yeah,
media.
no.
One, no one knows what's happened.
Yeah.
Nah, but-
and everyone
yeah.
also goes, "Oh, one's in England, one's in Brazil." No one, no offense, but us, like, no one does care about Brazil to a degree. It's
Oh,
always,
man,
it's
you
like,
say some funny.
Yeah,
things.
but it's
no,
fine.
but it's like everything. Like, if there's a Brazilian player that you're going to sign, no one even knows who they are. Like, no one would have known who.
Yeah. We'll talk
Everyone
about this.
knows
We talk about United way too much. We're going to stop talking about United. Bournemouth, another draw.
I think we talk about them more off camera than we do.
I know, but I'm sick of talking about United constantly. Bournemouth, good result.
Especially after
and,
your trip. Sorry, I keep interrupting Bournemouth. Good result.
that finally get a draw, another draw. They can't get a win, but I think they're happy to take the draw, right? Because they got dominated in this game.
Yeah, they didn't
Like,
deserve. a
Neto
point
man
in
the
that,
match,
to be honest.
surely. Like just some of the saves he made.
Thought just on Bournemouth, I
Yeah.
thought like, so I don't know what the stats are, but I feel like Philip Billing last year had like a fair few goal contributions.
Not as much, right?
Well, he's playing so deep.
Yeah.
Now. I know.
Well, Lerma's
he was
gone, right?
getting
Jefferson
in the box.
Lerma's-
Yeah.
yeah,
So
Palace
Philip was
now.
getting in the box, but if you see Bournemouth picking on the ball, like he's like their deepest line,
Yeah.
like midfielder. He
Because
was
he
getting
plays a
so
long-
deep.
Who plays alongside him nowadays?
Oof.
I feel like it's a constant turning, revolving door about who
Yeah,
plays
I don't
in
know.
midfield.
I don't know who's playing next to him.
Couldn't tell you.
But
That's honest. That's honest. There's
Um,
lineups. You guys got that in there. Lewis Cook's still playing in there.
yeah, Lewis good.
I guess so you got
Tavernier
Lewis
on
Cook
the
and
left,
Billing,
Christie's on the right.
Otara's on the left, Tavernier right, and then
Tavernier's
Ryan
on the
Christie's
right.
in the midfield as a 10.
Who Otara is.
Otara's good. He had a chance as well. He missed that straight
Yeah,
in front of the goal
Solanke's
as well.
looks pretty good as well. So
He's going to turn. The manager's going to turn this team around. Like they're a good team. I think they're playing better than they did last year.
yeah, I think they're getting relegated.
You think you seriously reckon they're going to get relegated? Like
I predicted
Hand
it,
on
and I stand by that.
you stand by. I reckon they're
Bro,
going to be well and truly
some
safe.
teams
I think there's a lot of worse
teams have to go down. I don't think so.
They play some really
Everton?
nice football.
Everton are bad, but that's it, man. Like,
Sheffield.
Luton.
but Sheffield and Luton are going down already. Like,
So then Everton. So that's your three.
no, but I don't think Everton will go down.
Everton
I
on
just don't
pure
think they will.
passion alone.
I think Wolves will stay up. I think Everton will stay up.
I think Wolves will stay up because they've showed something. Everton
that's
have
what I'm
showed.
Bournemouth's shown more than Wolves. Bournemouth are much better than Wolves in
Wolves
my
have-
mind.
bro, Wolves have showed
Everton
a
are
lot,
lucky to
man.
show a grain
Wolves-
of sand.
Wolves
Yeah.
should not be on.
One grain of sand.
Everton showed nothing. They
Everton
lost to
suck.
Sheffield.
Everton do suck, but no.
I reckon Luton have showed more than
Wolves could
Everton.
have easily won
Luton showed more than
3
Wigan.
games.
Wolves were United.
They,
I don't think you can get any games Manchester United seen because the Manchester United literally are playing like a bottom half
yeah,
team.
but like they should have beat you. Like,
You know,
like, so
yeah.
like, as in, so I'm
But it's the same
gonna
thing.
say
Like Sheffield United should have beaten Everton. It's the same sort of thing, you know. Like
Luton are so bad. They
we'll
are so
move on to the
good.
next game. But I think Bournemouth have got more upside than a lot of those teams around them. Villa 3, Palace 1. Another one of those games where they left it very, very late. Goals in the what was it the 3rd minute of added time and the 10th minute I think of added time, something like that. A lot of chance. Diaby scored. I was furious. They got turned offside for my fantasy.
He looks so good, man.
That touch and I know it was offside, but take it down first time from the
and
Torres
the
ball
finish.
and the finish in the corner.
We were talking last week about how he's the finished, like he's got
got
a finished product.
Got the whole
like
thing.
that was
He's-
always.
it was
he's continuing to show
slandering
it.
Leon Bailey from the year before, but like. As in, the comparisons in, he's like a good Leon Bailey.
Even Bailey's looking good now.
Scored a
Looking incredible.
nuts goal on
Yeah.
the weekend. Like,
So we got
Crazy.
We'll touch on Palace before we talk about Aston Villa. Another decent performance, and another performance where Edouard and Mateta link up again. Like these guys, I thought were finished. I thought they had no chance in the Prem, but all of a sudden they're now like qualified Prem ballers who are like playing. Mateta's a role as a defender. Pau Torres nonetheless, like quality defender, plays a quality ball into Edouard. Edouard scores, I think, third or fourth. Now we're thinking.
I think it's his fourth goal. I'm gonna double check this.
What a like. I mean, Hodgson wasn't even there. So, like the
No, I
turnaround
reckon
of these
it's his fault.
strikers. Do you reckon? Like, is this down to the coaching, or is this just down to them finding their feet now in the Prem? Fourth goal. What do we reckon? Is it them finding their feet, or is it more just the coaching? Because they were nothing
Palace?
last year.
I think it's the change up that there's no more like there's less reliance and balls played into the midfield.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So it's in like one, they were getting chances last year, and I really back on this XG thing in the sense that I think if you're in the Prem, right, you've proven you can put the ball in the net.
Yeah.
So like give these guys enough chances and persist with them long enough, you'll see that they're good and they'll start scoring goals. Right? Like I'm sure Edouard is outperformed his XG this year so far in the sense that I'm sure he's put more goals in than he was expected to, right? But I think it's one that because there's less reliance on that midfield. Well, there's more reliance up top, right? In the sense that there's less goals out of that midfield. They're getting more service in, probably better service, and I also think it's also with the openness and sort of the way they've played that I think you saw towards the end of last season that these guys were getting more chances. They just couldn't put them away.
Yeah.
So I think it's a combination of more service to the boys up top, as well as a more open play style.
They sort of fix their own problems, right? Like that's what the problem was last year. They couldn't put the ball back. It was all on Zaha. It was all on Elise to score.
They haven't really made many signings, and it's more been from the players they've actually got internally, and just a few switch ups that Roy Hodgson's brought in.
But so he was.
I still reckon that Lerma signing is so underrated.
Was Hodgson a late out?
He's
Was that the week before?
ill.
Was that the week before?
No, it was
this week.
That was this week. Yeah.
I still reckon though that Lerma signing so underrated because he was so good for Bournemouth for a few years, and someone who can just help out that midfield. We keep talking about today about carrying
Martinez
that
had a
ball,
little
pick the
slip.
ball up and carry it. Yeah, no, that was a bit of a stinker there. But they're looking good, right? Like we all had them in that mid-table. Do you reckon they'll go above that 12th,
Palace?
13th sort of
Nah,
spot?
I still think they're going to
just
be
sit
around
there.
there. I think we discussed so many times how
many teams are in.
it's actually
and
dense
you're still
on the top.
expecting the likes of obviously
It's so hard to finish top 10.
United and Chelsea to hopefully
Yeah.
finish top 8.
Hopefully.
No, but it's so hard to finish top 10.
Yeah.
There's going to
Too
be
many
one
teams.
team who finishes top 10 outside of if West Ham, Villa,
And Brighton.
all finish top 10,
That's
then,
it.
then that is
That's it, that's
in
it.
terms of
And
the
that means
big
Brentford
clubs
miss out, and
and the
Brentford
guys who
for
are
me one of
supposed
the
to. And then, finishing 11th, you might have, you could have teams like Brentford
that'd be
or
amazing,
Palace
Brentford
or
11th.
you could have good teams finishing 11th.
Yeah.
And it's just I think it's more of a indication of how good the Prem is
Quality of the
rather than
Prem is,
how big the gap is, blah blah blah. I mean, I would be surprised if the Prem doesn't perform really well. The Prem teams don't perform really well in Europe this year.
I think
I
a
just
lot
think
of trophies for Europe this year. I think you could.
yeah, well, I think the teams which could compete in Europe go so deep in the Prem in the sense that I think Chelsea and Liverpool, despite not playing, Chelsea and Spurs, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Despite not playing Europe this year, could be very very competitive teams in Europe.
Yeah.
When they come good, I'd be surprised if we don't challenge if the Premier League doesn't succeed.
Yeah, you can almost. I can almost see Liverpool win the Europa League. That's almost like a matter of fact. Unless
Well, you
Sevilla
think so,
come
but
good.
over
you've
the
seen
last
some
few
of them,
years,
even
you've
like
seen United
Arsenal
and
last
Arsenal
year.
sell that, man.
The Arsenal last
you
year.
know, we'll say, but I think they could almost win. They just take them home.
And I'm so excited for the
third team.
Champions League that way.
Yeah, that's massive tonight.
It's going to cook my sleep,
Yeah,
though,
it's
man.
Huge
But
game
It's
tomorrow
been
night. United Bayern.
I think it's been 7 years since we've been in the Champions League. I'm not taking the piss when I have the Champions League theme song in my liked Spotify songs. It comes on every now and then. It's just the funniest thing. It's been 7 years.
Wow.
And before that was 17 years of being in the Champions League every year. So it was just such a shock to the system.
Yeah.
And man, to be honest, you got to look back 7 years. I was 13, right?
Barely probably watching.
Come on, I mean, like literally my only memory of the Champions League, well, besides the 5-1s getting slapped by Bayern, is like Mohamed El Neni putting the ball top ins against Barca. And that is like the biggest throwback ever, man. Like this is like under Wenger. It's just hilarious.
Prime bangable.
But yeah, so keen, man. We got PSV at home.
And then we got Bayern, and I'm pretty happy that our name isn't Barcelona.
Yeah. And the biggest I reckon is going to be tonight, Newcastle and AC Milan. Milan.
You said Newcastle got like some sanction for rocking up late?
Even though the plane got delayed.
Yeah. It's because of the weather.
Look at the weather.
Because of the weather.
It's pissing it down in Milan. Like, you see the fans doing like slip and slide on the side of the road on the tiles. The fans will be loving that. Newcastle fans are so up for this stuff.
Oh, there's going to be so many tunes. Milan's going to get a shock.
Yeah. Well, the tunes rocking up.
Like,
get the beverages ready. I'll tell you what.
But nah.
Close out the Villa game.
Good.
Big win for them because I think probably for me, their first proper test that they've actually passed because the big teams have just got battered every time they play them, like Liverpool and Newcastle. So the first big game, and obviously it wasn't looking likely until the late sort of turnaround with Diaz, Douglas Luiz's penalty, and also that goal from Bailey. But is that now enough? You've seen enough form and stuff to say those should be in the top 8 again? Are we feeling that?
Yeah, I
don't know about top 8, but definitely top 10.
I still back my Villa prediction.
Yeah, I back mine as well. I just think that, like, with the amount of depth teams we know that the Premier League has, you're obviously expecting, like, United and Chelsea still at this point, I'd say, to finish above them.
Yeah.
I think, I'm not convinced by that. I think so much of our predictions and, like, thought process is, like, whether unknowingly or knowingly, changes based upon the club's stature.
Yeah,
right?
The aura behind the club.
I think the aura, the lack of aura around Brighton and Villa
Yeah.
plays into our predictions so much. And I think, it's hard to not look at Brighton and think like, well, we'll touch the United game soon and think, oh, maybe top 4.
Yeah.
And it's hard to not look at Villa and think like they're going to be pushing above Chelsea, blah, blah. But like,
what we've seen, though, impressive.
I think
very early on.
Villa, but Villa has a good squad. Like on paper, it's a good squad. Their signings are good. Like they're making instant impact. And I think they have a good. I think they have like a relatively good manager who's sort of at his level.
Yeah.
Not to discredit Unai, but sometimes we see at the bigger clubs like it's just a little bit too much. And whether it was bad timing or like just other being out of his depth. Yeah. Like I think Unai's at a squad now where, because of his past experience, he still demands respect. I think his game style is so much more suited to a team with slightly less expectation, right? With Villa, you can go to bigger clubs and sit back and not hold possession, right?
Yeah.
Whereas when you're Arsenal...
Well, let's on that point, before you finish, like, I think they're better when they're in possession. Every time they've been without it and staying deep, they just bottle it. They just get conceding. I think what they need to adjust is finding that middle ground. Like Brentford do it really, really well, where they went to Newcastle and went on the front foot, but they still had 44% possession. Like still had the ball. Yeah. Whenever you get away to Liverpool and away to Newcastle, they sat in too deep. And obviously Newcastle was a hard one because injury to Mings and a lot going on. But I feel like they're best when they got Matty Cash pushing up high and wide.
It wasn't against Newcastle.
It was match week 1. Yeah. I think when they're their best, they're getting the wingers. Obviously Bailey, Diaby walking like a pacey group. Cash is pacey. Dino has been very, very good this year. Like those guys going high and wide. When they're in possession, they look their best, right? So why not try and adapt a little bit more away to the bigger clubs? Because I think if they go to Chelsea, they go to United, they go to maybe Tottenham not on their day, they can get 3 points for playing a bit more attacking. Because around in the league, the teams are doing the best at being on the front foot because defences right now, I'm going to agree, have not been at their best. Like City conceded the West Ham.
To be fair, there was not that many goals on the weekend, I don't think.
Like a lot of 3-1s.
But we had 0-0s, so we had a couple 1-0s. We had 1-0, we had 1-1-0. The rest were all multiple scoring games. Yep. Okay. Chelsea. Oh, do you know we had 1-1? Arsenal were 1-0. That's right. Arsenal won. So we had 2 1-0s and a 0-0.
Yeah, so that's...
There's still goals, I think. Goals have been the dominating factor for winnings.
What would there have been, though? There would have been, maybe 22 goals?
Prez, there was 5 games with 2 or less goals.
It's still for me, the teams who are better attacking.
Newcastle, Chelsea,
that's 2 goals.
Everton, Luton, Fulham. Like they were all 2 or 1 goal games or no goal games.
It's not like a 1 goal. It's not like a 1-0.
There was actually, there was
3 1-0s and a 0-0 and a 1-1.
3 1-0s. Where's the other 1-0?
Luton, Fulham.
Yeah, it's 1-0.
Everton, Arsenal, Newcastle, Brentford.
Newcastle got the 1-0 because of penalty get turned.
I
I
thought it was a pretty like low scoring weekend, to be honest.
think
like,
we've seen so far this season
Yeah,
that
I'm gonna
attacks
agree with
have
you, to be
won
honest.
games.
when we were watching Saturday night, there was like at halftime, it was like 2
No,
goals.
yeah, there was like no goals. A few happened at the end, so probably like.
So it's like
probably
in the back of your
exaggerates
head,
it.
you probably go,
Yeah.
there's so many goals,
Like,
but that's only
but
because
Villa
it's
scored
all
a
goals
last-
have-
Yeah,
Villa
no,
scored
but
a
it's not
last
the so many
minute.
goals
Two
thing. It's
in the
that
last
every
minute,
team that's
yeah.
attacked well, Liverpool attack well. They've
Yeah,
won games.
No, I
Spurs
definitely-
attack well,
no,
win
you're right.
games.
Even if they only concede 1 or 2 goals, like late, like there's still
The teams who are doing well this year, the teams who have prioritised forward play, like Brighton, forward playing team, goals galore.
teams that are creative.
Yeah, the creative teams are doing better this year. I
Better
think
than
we
teams
can-
that sit back. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
100%.
100% right.
We'll quickly touch on Fulham, Luton, then 1-0. Fulham is still
Didn't watch this game.
Yeah, I only watched highlights.
Unfortunately, I don't really care about Luton.
But the fact that Luton looked more likely at times to score than Fulham just says a lot.
Did you
to
watch
me.
this game?
I watched the 20-minute mini match.
That's nuts
Saturday.
from you, man. That is a commitment.
But
But
still,
still, the most boring thing.
Seriously though, Fulham are average, very average.
Fulham are so bad.
This could be
Fulham
a
look
case
so
of West
bad.
Ham last year where
Yeah.
they're going to
I
tantalise
predicted
in the
this for
bottom.
Brentford, but I got it wrong.
Wrong way around.
Fulham,
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
Fulham
further
was
around.
the one.
Yeah.
Like who overexceeded so hard
But I think
last
when we
year.
did our predictions, we didn't know Mitrovic wasn't going to be there as well.
I think the turmoil in the
I don't
team
think we
was.
did. I don't think we did.
I think what we didn't see was the turmoil in the team. The fact
And
that
Palhinha's
Willian
gonna be
and
gone
Palhinha's
in-
still there, and just
Palhinha's going to be gone in Jan. Like
but it's still, the matter of fact is these guys are all doing linked away. They're not there at the moment. Willian's not there.
Willian was
Palhinha's not
gone
there.
and then came back and then left again. So
and then like the coach, like Silva, he was basically gone as well to Saudi. Now he's there. Does anyone actually want to be there and play for them? I don't really know, to be honest, because
yeah, Fulham.
it's a bit all over the place.
Like they almost look like they could be in a relegation battle.
They could
to
be
honest.
like around that sort of 15, 16, right?
Yeah.
They're in a bit of danger. But Luton, yeah, again, still no win, so
no
the
win,
count
no draw.
goes on,
Honestly,
yeah.
who do we think Luton could beat?
it's going to have to be Sheffield.
I
It's
think
gonna have to
Luton
be
looks so bad.
I think they can pull
And I don't
points
think,
against
and
Everton.
I don't think Sheffield. I don't
Everton,
think Sheffield are as bad, like anywhere near as bad as Luton are. I think
No,
Sheffield.
but the fact that Luton can sit in and play away to Fulham and Leno be the man of the match for big saves, like it says a lot. That it probably says a lot about Fulham, but I think we know Fulham are better than Everton. They're better than Sheffield, so Luton can go away there and try and do a similar thing. It's just a shame they haven't got the finished product up front. Like they've got no one who can, like how
who's that geezer from?
Morris. They haven't got like I don't know, like a team that comes that just has
Is
like
Morris
a
the
prolific
Welsh
striker.
guy?
No, he's English.
He's English, yeah.
He's English.
You know they have no gold cards on FIFA. The first time ever in Premier League, a team has never had a gold card.
Wow.
That's just
Call me a casual, but that is why I don't know his players.
I saw that the other day on some like
Oh, Jesus,
Reddit
man.
Not
thing.
one.
Not one
That's-
gold
I
card.
don't reckon that's ever happened.
And Ross,
I
no, it's the
think
first time ever
that's what he just
in
said.
FIFA's history that no Premier League team has had a gold card.
That is crazy, man.
That says a lot about their team.
Well, what do like Sheffield have just to so I can for a comparison?
Mick Burney would be a gold.
75. Like the tall geezer in the midfield.
Midfield like narrows it. Who they got in midfield?
Sand.
No, he's at Burnley now. Sanderberg's at Burnley.
Oh, Sandberg's at Burnley. True.
That's
I
the
think
thing,
he's
like-
like one of the relegation ones.
Yeah.
It's like when you said Cameron Archer's gone.
Yeah,
to
so yeah,
Sheffield,
same, yeah,
or
yeah.
Burnley, whatever it was, and we got it wrong.
Well, this Harmer guy must be from. He's bloody good. He must be good.
oh,
he must be gold.
Cameron Archer.
Yeah,
would be gold.
Yeah,
Sheffield, Cameron Archer would be gold. He'd be 75.
even them as
I don't
well.
know 100%.
I think they got Tom,
probably right.
Tom Davies would be a gold. Sure, he's on the bench for them.
Jesus
just for like reputation's
Is
sake.
Davies on the bench?
He's on the bench for Sheffield United. Yeah.
We're talking about the same
You know what?
Davies.
Yeah, no, like Everton.
Everton,
Everton
Tom Davies.
Davies.
Yeah, Tom Davies.
yeah.
What a fall off he's had. We'll touch on them
goodness.
now. Then Spurs 2, Sheffield United 1. We talked a lot about the Spurs comeback, but what I'm gonna say, Hamer, whatever he's doing for Sheffield United, he's got 2 banging goals now.
Good finish.
Like picks it up, whips in the
Really
corner.
finish.
I feel a bit bad for Sheffield because although like
Another
Tottenham
occasion.
deserved the win.
Another Sheffield bottom.
Saw a
I
post
know.
that, yeah, Sheffield are doing a Spurs. Oh my god, man.
Wow, though, like they could have maybe 4 or 5 points already this year.
They could have 5 more points on top of what they've got.
How that is not a point when you're like that. They literally lost in the most unprecedented manner.
That
Should have beaten Spurs.
I think they were
Should
the 2
have.
latest goals ever. I think they were both the 2.
Well,
102nd and 105.
when I was at the game after the United game, I was checking thing. The BBC had already called it full time. So that everyone thought the game was over, and so we were all laughing at Spurs had lost. The next minute we refreshed. I pressed the Premier League out
What?
then, and they're going to win 2-1. Like that's how late it was. Like
but how can the BBC call it?
it's an
off?
FT on it. It's an FT full time 1-0. That's how late it was. That's how stupid late it was.
Yeah, well.
That's
But again,
That's
like we've already
hilarious.
touched on
crazy.
Ange Ball, but we'll just do a short summary. Like that's looking
It's belief.
promising.
It's belief now. It's no longer
Yeah.
just like Spursy or
It's,
bottle. It's
yeah, like obviously we want to see a good test, and that's what we got this week.
Yeah.
yeah.
Beautiful.
So we're
watch
going to
along.
definitely watch.
We'll do it. Watch
Yeah,
Sunday
we'll-
Sunday night 9 p.m. isn't
Nine-
it?
that's
Yeah.
actually
perfect time.
We didn't have to sit here till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly.
the Bevs? Am I allowed a Bev?
I'm sure we will. Yeah. Couple of stubbies, and we'll be good. That'll be exciting. But yeah, Spurs again getting it done. Now they're third, second.
I'm gonna have to pull a Spurs scarf out of nowhere.
Yeah, I was talking to Jared because like he might.
The other guest there should be coming.
Jared probably come.
Yeah.
It was like. It's unfortunately it's just gonna be us versus the world, man. Like, or at least us versus Australia. Like, no one wants us to beat them. Like,
everyone likes Ange.
Not even Australians. Everyone on the planet wants Spurs to beat us, bro. Unless you're an Arsenal fan, it's gonna be a tough day.
Man City, we have their Spurs scars out as well.
Oh yeah,
because it's looking tighter than the top than what we thought. Yeah. But again, we got Sheffield losing to Forest when they were up. Mm-hmm. They've lost to Spurs when they were up. They drawn to Everton when they could have won at the last kick of the game.
Yep.
So that's now like.
Was Sheffield up against Forest?
I'm sure that.
I think it was a draw. I think Forest won 1-0.
Okay, that's a draw. They drop the 90th minute though. They keep dropping these points, which is like.
Oh yeah, late, 100%.
They could be 15th at the moment, and
that's why I tend to think that like, it's just going to be Luton are probably going to like at least from what we're saying could have the worst season ever.
Could do a derby.
Well, was Derby 14 or points?
I'm sure it's less than that. It was like single, wasn't it?
No. It was like 20.
Yeah, it might have been 22.
It was like 21 or something.
I'm not sure. Was that high, really?
Yeah.
No, Derby didn't get... Bro, single digits would be great.
No, it wasn't single.
Bro,
14 or 22.
Would be
I can't
crazy.
remember. It was 14 or 22.
Nah,
I think 11 points.
What?
I thought it was that low. It was 11
Derby
points.
got 11.
Yeah, I'm sure they were at 8 at one point. I've seen the screenshot. They were at 8
11 points.
Yeah, 11 points, yeah. I don't know where you
got
got 22.
What? That's going to be hard to beat.
22 points is like...
Bro, I don't know if Luton get less than that. Luton get a cup, 3 wins at home. They're already on 9.
3 against who? Against who?
That's the thing.
Yeah, but you can say against who, but they'll pull something out of the hat.
Bro, you say that. I don't know. I'm not convinced.
I can't believe you thought it was 22. I thought you guys put me with the back.
I was convinced it was 20.
I thought you guys... I thought I'd made an absolute mare, but no, yeah.
I said 14 first.
Yeah, okay. So I've just seen a screenshot where they had 8 points.
11 points.
11 points.
But I'm not saying they're going to get much more than that. They're getting relegated 100%.
Nah, to be fair, it obviously wasn't 20. Like Southampton got like 24.
I was like, it's 20 sometimes it's really bad. Like,
yeah,
it's really not really that bad.
I can see them getting 11, 12. Can you?
11.
I don't know.
You don't understand how low that is as well.
I was big on them, but I haven't seen enough so far.
It's pretty low.
Yeah, but you got to understand.
They'll nick some points.
They go somehow nick
Do you know
a win against Everton.
Is 1 point, like, is about 1 point every 4 games.
It's remarkable.
That's what I'm saying.
So bad.
That's what I'm saying. They'll stinge a game against like a Palace.
It's a 38 game
season. They'll stinge something against a mid-table team.
I don't know.
They'll nick a point.
I don't know if Luton are capable of a snatch and grab. Like, I think they're so bad. Like,
what needs to happen? They did not concede for 70 minutes and get their
all
goal
right.
late. They can't get their goal early.
They
it's
still
impossible.
came up. Like obviously they're bad, but they have to be half decent to pull a point every now and again.
On passion, bro. Like, I don't know how teams do that, but they just do.
It'll be interesting to see how. Yeah, probably has to be Everton or Sheffield. I'm trying to think about it.
Maybe there'll be someone else.
Yeah, you never expect it, but there always is.
Like, you look at when City have lost in the past. When City lost to Southampton last year.
Yeah, last year in the cup. Yeah. And lost in the league as well, didn't they?
And
lost both. Yeah. Jeez.
With Che Adams 2 back years, was that 2 years back? Halfway shot randomly.
It was always some moment.
That's what I'm saying.
2 years ago.
Yeah, that was. The Premier League always has those moments.
They still lost to them last year.
Definitely. But maybe there's a bit of excitement for Luton then. Can you beat the lowest score in the Premier League history?
That's so sad.
Speak about City. We'll touch on them now. West Ham 1, City 3. I was very excited at halftime seeing that. West Ham
excited.
We started chanting that we see the score City at the
I
ground.
thought at one stage my prediction was too low.
They just don't drop points this team. Like,
I don't. Doku, after making a mistake, his touch that basically led to the goal, his miscontrol. Great header for more proud as well, like horizontal.
To be honest, but I'll say something. We were watching that at halftime, the Ward-Prowse goal.
Yeah.
And
good ball, see foul.
Like, Akanji, could he not have done better?
Yeah, it was weird. We both
it was a weird ball that I feel like...
Yeah, but that didn't seem like... It seemed like it was low driven.
But the pace on it was too much.
Yeah, but a Premier League defender doesn't matter.
I know, but like... You don't really
if
expect
it's at your height,
you don't really
you've got to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought it was I mean, I'm not going to talk deep about it. They ended up winning 3-1, but it was, I didn't think it was a weird one.
Cut straight forward because I felt like from the looks at it, I feel like he was expecting the ball to go that way because you don't expect the ball to be crossed into Ward-Prowse at any one of the players. I think dummy runners are going to be like Antonio or like from Paqueta on the edge of this. They're probably not fully committing. Then when the ball was so low and so hard, that was a pacey ball. That was a really good ball. I think he just didn't quite. His brain didn't clock it before his foot could react. But what a header as well! Like he was this far off the ground, it fell and just a horror, like a Robin van Persie.
We've seen the state of heading like this
stinking it.
Just drop off so much over the last couple of years. So it was refreshing to see someone like, of course, Ward Prowse. Like,
I know.
He's Brexing. He's giving these ones as well.
Did he pull out
so good,
so
good.
No, he faked it. He went like this. He went like, and even like that. I loved it.
Yeah, and then Doku, that individual goal.
Shift on his right foot. There was some great curling finish in the weekend.
To be honest,
what was the other goals as well? One, they're both Alvarez. It was 2 Alvarez assists, but the other goals was Haaland.
No, 2 Alvarez.
Haaland, Doku,
Haaland got on,
and
Bernardo Silva.
Bernardo's goal was good as well. I liked Bernardo Silva's goal as well.
To be honest, it was terrible defending.
It was awful defending.
Allowed that ball to go over your head.
But it just...
And then the keeper not come out.
It's such a Bernardo Silva goal. He's just a little guy and just nicks a little toe in there.
There was a gap of about a metre and a half between the centre-back and the keeper.
Why did Aguerd jump? Why didn't he just body Bernardo Silva out of the way? That's what I thought
it was just really weird.
He jumped and it just crawled over his head.
To be fair, I wouldn't have given Areola much stick. I thought it was pretty nice that game.
That triple save when it was like Rodri, Haaland, and he was like bang, bang, bang.
Right in the first couple minutes.
That
was insane, man. We're watching that thinking, how is this ball not gone in?
But West Ham is obviously they're not playing attacking at all, but it's working. Right? Actually, they're getting chance in the counter.
It's working, but we knew this would come undone against good teams.
City.
Right?
Yeah, that's why I can't put them with the Villas and the Brighton.
Not just City though. As I think this will come. It'll come unstuck in most games, similar to this. Like, I think most teams with a more attacking mindset.
Yeah.
Okay. West Ham. I can't see West Ham scoring 2 or 3 goals against reasonably well set up defenses, right?
That's the thing. This year, I don't think the defense has been against Liverpool. They could nick 2 against Liverpool.
Yeah, but
they can nick a few against Chelsea.
4, though.
Yeah.
I have a lot of faith in Liverpool, except against against
the
the
big
top
boys.
2. Yeah, I have a lot of faith in Liverpool. But Haaland as well, like, so he just like a City. Like, his reactions at the moment are just so funny.
He just walks off.
I know, doing the
even when he scored, he just did this thing where he just fell over.
Yeah, it was hilarious. He was like doing this weird thing.
Yeah, because he can't, like, he's trying to save it because he put one in the back.
He can't believe like what's going on.
He's just such an NPC.
He is, but like, they are a machine, man. They just don't stop making chances.
They weren't at their best.
Yeah. This is Arsenal's biggest problem.
If they're at their best, they would have scored 7 or 8. Because Haaland had that many chances.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going about Arsenal though, like, and I know they will drop points, City, but like, unless Arsenal are only going to drop points, like, aren't going to drop any more points and beat City twice.
To beat City once or twice.
Who is City losing to? They're looking better than they did last year.
I think
last year they didn't start. The biggest problem was they
never
didn't start
well. Their biggest problem is
they
never start well.
Yeah.
It's like the first time the champions of the previous season have gone like undefeated in the first. How many games?
5
games.
5.
The first time a team's done that in ages.
5 games. Like, it's only been 5.
I know, but
it's just that because of this small sample, we haven't seen the best of them yet, and they're still good.
Match week 8.
Okay.
By then they'll be good, surely. By match 8, surely they hit.
So I think we verse them coming out of an international break.
That'd be
international break.
That'd be good.
You know how it is.
That'd be good for
3. There's like 3 international breaks before December. It's disgusting.
Yeah, and then there's like none for the rest of the year, basically.
Yeah, and there's one in Jan.
No,
there is. At the end of Christmas time, is there one? I thought it was like Feb when you're out of the Christmas period, where you're out of that.
No, there's nothing in Jan.
We only play 3 games in Jan this year.
What? Jan's usually huge.
December is huge.
No, you know why? Because there's 3 FA Cup games if you do it in Jan.
No. I remember last year. We were up like every
there's
like
3 FA Cup games in Jan.
I'm checking right now.
First week of Jan, there's an FA Cup. It won't be registered because you don't know if you win.
I'm checking fixtures, bro, for the international break.
Would there be European? Might be European.
No, there's a week off because they play FA Cup on the weekend that week.
No, you're a donkey.
Yes. Do you remember there's one FA Cup
I'm
week
sure
they play
out
on
of
the
Christmas.
weekend.
Yeah, we play.
They play on the weekend at Christmas.
So there's no game between New Year's Eve and Saturday the 13th.
No, that's FA Cup week. That's FA Cup week. That's FA Cup week. I'm sure of it.
And then there's no game between the 13th and the 31st. So you thought I was waffling that. There's at least one international break.
There could be one in
You're telling me there's 2 lots of 2 breaks?
There's got to be one in there.
Maybe it's the second.
It must be the back end because coming out of Christmas, there's always games. Like you literally
there's games like right around Christmas. There's Boxing Day, and there's New Year's Eve, and there's all that. Like,
even out, I'm sure we played 2 cup games back to back.
First week
Europa
of
League
Jan
and
is FA Cup. I'm 100% sure. I remember we played Wolves last year.
Okay.
But the point coming out of the international break, it'd probably be good for you guys to like suss out the tactics. Like Arteta will work it out because what you don't want is you guys coming off of a Champions League game where you might have not played as well, and then you're a bit all over the place. I want to see like Arsenal at their best, City at their best because that's when we get to see like how have
I
Arsenal
think it's
improved,
that
right?
we're playing at home, so geez, we need to set the tone, man. We need to.
You have to
We
win that.
have to beat them. You're right, 100% right.
To set the season straight.
My opinion on the season will drastically determine upon that game. And to be honest, oh my god, I'm already scared thinking about it.
thinking ahead,
Bro,
even though we got Tottenham on the weekend.
Bro, City give me PTSD, man. Like we just cannot beat that team. Like
How good's Alvarez as well? I'll tell you off topic. I just thought about that free kick, hit the crossbar. Like, and he's assisting like 2 assists, wasn't it?
he's really 2 assists. He's really
He's become Kevin De Bruyne.
Foden was supposed to be that guy. Like as in Pep always talks about this, how Foden's so good down the middle and just proceeds to never play him there. But
Pep's a fraud.
But yeah, honestly, it's the most annoying thing. But Alvarez has come in and
He's Kevin. He's basically
and he's playing like
Kevin De Bruyne.
minutes every week and he's creating and he's also he's obviously got finishing.
We're seeing the best of Bernardo Silva as well now because there's not less quality, but we have got rid of you got rid of Mahrez now and you're getting quality just Bernardo Silva time. Docker's a bit different, so you're seeing how technically
Who
good.
is surprising signing?
Who have City versus that's good?
Who they versed?
No one.
Newcastle was supposed to have a fight. They didn't put up a fight, but that's probably their best
That's
team.
right. That was like a 2-0.
Yeah, and I guess the Community Shield's the last time I versed a decent team, and you guys got the better of them. So
We did. That's right. We did.
dodgy it may it seem, but you got the better of them. So
Yeah, goodness, I forget about that.
counts all the time. We'll move on to the next game. I've saved it for last because we might talk about it forever. We'll try and keep it short. United 1, Brighton 3. Interesting because we were chatting after the game. The way I saw it in the stands versus the way you guys saw it was totally different.
Yeah, I will start off.
This is actually a very, very interesting
And
point.
I don't know if this is because maybe there was so many eyes and so many people on the back of him, but at the ground, there was dogs abuse for Rashford. Like, no one was happy with his performance at all. The boos that rang around the stadium when Højlund got taken off was the weirdest thing I've experienced.
we agree with that. We agree with that.
No. I'm just summarising what it felt like. And it felt like the tide...
That was so planned.
Yeah, I know. But still, it felt like the tide was starting to turn. It reminded me of the 7-0 against Liverpool. I've never heard boos that loud since that day when Ole got booed off the pitch. And it was the same sort of feeling at full time, at half time. And when Højlund got taken off, it felt like the tide was starting to turn. You talk about how United fans are all in protecting Ten Hag. At that moment, guy walked out. The guy behind me walked out when Højlund got dragged, not Rashford. And it just seemed like, despite the first 20 minutes, United dominated I thought United dominated the game.
Well, they did until the goal.
Yeah, it just felt like Brighton just played in the ball and United just couldn't counter that. The press wasn't working. The inability to have a right winger, that Eriksen was playing out right and McTominay, they were touching him too narrow.
This is where the Rashford slander goes to. Rashford was really playing as a second number 9, not off the left.
Yes, but when we had the ball, he was the left winger. So in our defensive shape, it was Højlund and Rashford, and Rashford was very...
When you ever see more than... You're always going to see true people that don't completely drop back.
No, but it's not dropping back, it's called pressing. And when Lamptey had arguably the best game of his career... driving with the ball.
Lamptey was good, but Lamptey was made to look good by some Lisha mistakes, blah, blah.
Lisha was awful.
Yeah.
I think that, I think like pressing is like such a buzzword nowadays. I think pressing and like,
it's just the fact that
build up. I think it's like such a buzzword at the moment, man. And I
Steele looked like the best player on the ball because no one was going near him. Because Steele was just taking touch. But, I see you there, I'll ping you out. Like it's just.
And to be fair, I was saying like before the show that like I was criticizing Ten Hag for maybe playing as like a smaller club, and that definitely ties into the pressing thing. Like you want to press and win the ball back in opposition. So if you're going to sit deep and allow Brighton to play at home,
it's fine to sit deep, but you got to pick one or the other because sometimes you press.
So who do you think was our best player?
But I also
Bruno Fernandes is the best player for United.
This is what I don't get.
I didn't see Bruno touch the ball.
Bruno didn't touch. Okay, yeah, Bruno. He dropped back into centre back.
He had to because no one was
what his role is. His role is to assist. I don't give a crap what he does in the
defense.
There was 3 players better than Bruno.
That's on Erik ten Hag. If our deepest player has to be Bruno Fernandes, what does that say about the management and the style of play we put out there? What does that say about that then?
It also says that Bruno's just running around and should have been dragged. In my opinion, if you're running around like that, you should be dragged.
Bruno Fernandes would be dragged.
I can't.
Are you kidding me?
To be fair, I
could name you 7 more players that could have been dragged before Bruno Fernandes got dragged.
No, there was a lot of players.
Casemiro, Eriksen, McTominay, Martinez,
if you're playing out of
Lindelof,
position, you should be dragged.
Huh?
In my opinion, he's not out.
He played out of position because Casemiro was absolutely awful.
It's not his role. We concede. I don't care. That's not his role. You play to your role.
No, because he couldn't pass, he couldn't press, he couldn't win the ball back.
Number one thing of any sport is you play to your role. You're not going to see a full forward in footy back.
Here we go. You bring football into
Nah,
a
in
totally
soccer
different
it's
game.
the same thing. Okay, I'm not saying he doesn't drop back and help the defense.
This is incredible.
But he does not need to be at centre back. That has nothing
Because
to
we
do
got
with
our
how
centre
he
back
played.
dragged off and Casemiro wasn't even there. Casemiro might as well be a ghost.
Nothing to do with how he played.
What do you mean? How you? Because your best playmaker is playing as a six.
You can't say Bruno
If your best player is playing as a six, what does that say about your coaching and your players?
Well, because he dropped back and helped.
He filled in
You
everyone
can't
else's
say he
role.
played well. Would you say Odegaard played well because his defensive duties were good? No. If he's attacking,
Well, here we go.
His attacking duties are number one.
Your captain is having to fill in for your midfield being awful. We had 3 midfielders who were pathetic on the weekend. So he said, "Okay, I'm going to take it on myself."
That's
No,
that's what
listen.
that's
You're
what
not letting me
he should
speak.
do.
Let me speak. Listen to me.
Okay.
He's dropping in deep to fill in all 3 midfielders who did awful. We had an attacking left back. I was very impressed. Regan, he can't defend. We know that Tom. He can't. He's a wing back. He's not a full back. He's an exposed on that left hand side defensively. We're playing Deloitte again, another attacking forward. Got up to the bar line, very good. Not strong defensively. Martinez may as well not being there. Casemiro may as well not being there. We know how awful McTominay is. So is Bruno going to stand at the top of the pitch next to Rashford, who's standing still with his head doing this, and Højlund trying his ass off to press? He was knackered, the poor bloke, because he kept going up to steal to press him. Where is that midfield? There's a massive gap. So you're going to let Bruno sit here with all this rubbish going on, with March picking up the ball, with Gross picking up the ball, with Danny Welbeck dropping in deep, picking up the ball.
You're right.
You're
right,
he's going to
but
sit there and
I've
watch it
got a
happen.
counter argument to that, and I'll tell you why.
Why is he going to sit there and watch it happen?
I'll tell you why, but you're saying watch it happen, but what people don't understand is, and it's like the fundamentals that a coach would always say is, okay, I understand why Bruno went back there because he went to help, okay? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But what happens is, when we do get the ball then, we don't have a number 10.
That's on the coach when he brings him over the sidelines.
I don't think that's necessarily solely on
after
the coach.
the first goal went in, he went to Ten Hag. Ten Hag had a paper out and was pointing to him. I saw it with my own eyes. I was sitting there and watching it. Him, Højlund, both went to Ten Hag, and Ten Hag did this and was showing them something. And ever since that moment, where was Bruno playing? He was playing deeper, and Eriksen was the high right-hand side attacking midfielder. That's what happened.
That's another whole thing. But what I'm saying is,
you can't blame the player for the coaching's
I'm not saying
ineptitude.
Bruno played bad, but You're based off
I
your
think it's been
attacking
taken
output.
away from
I'm
what
not
we're saying.
the same way in how I say Rashford.
I just don't think Bruno was good. I don't think Bruno was good.
No,
Who was better than him though? Who was better?
Rashford.
I can't believe you don't think Rashford was best player.
Rashford is based off his attacking output.
No, Rashford. I thought Rashford was
He
by
ran at them,
far
and
your best player.
they were shitting themselves when he ran at them.
Pass the ball across the goal to give Højlund his 2. He should have crossed the ball twice to Højlund.
It's a lot easier than you say. When you're in that,
And then when he did it, look what happened. When he did it, look what happened. We scored.
What you got to understand is there's a player there. If he hits
but look what he did against us.
blocked.
Look what he did against us though on the counter attack where he cuts back and bangs it on his right foot. I don't know. I think you can make cases for both arguments. I think I can make a compilation of Rashford hitting it with his left on
You
the
go look at the players like Hazard and stuff. They won Prems. That guy didn't move unless they had the ball. He would not move. I mean,
different system, different time. Different system, different time.
Yeah, but I think it's
different system,
to do with a little bit of the buzzword though. I tend to agree. Across the board in the sense that nowadays pressing is the thing and being proactive is the way. But I also think that that there is some it ties into why you're going to keep Rashford then.
Yeah.
Like why does Rashford have to be such a staple in your team if he doesn't fit the way you
I
want to play?
think
I think this is touching on what we were saying before is that if you're going to keep him, you know what you're going to get with him. He's going to be so dangerous on the ball, or at least over the last 18 months, that's what he's been, right? But the drawback is going to be his defensive output.
And for me, it's his inability to go for 50-50. Another frustration everyone had because Bruno was playing so deep and because he had to play so deep, the out ball was Rashford.
But I think with Bruno, it's a 50-50. With Bruno, it depends.
I'm not talking about Bruno. I'm not talking about Bruno anymore. I'm talking about the frustration of Rashford because this is there was the pressing. It was the mopey attitude around the ground and walking around and
maybe we didn't see this. Maybe we didn't.
Because every opportunity.
Worse, either way.
Maybe we didn't see this, but I thought for at least the first 45 minutes,
and then
he was active the whole time.
Every time the out ball was out there, he doesn't I know he's always injured and stuff like that, but if you're on the pitch, compete. It's one of those clubs, Manchester area, where it's you go out there and you compete because people will love to see you play and compete and beat your best. Yeah. I don't think you see Rooney jumping away from challenges when Dunk's got one-on-one in his own because Rashford basically leaves the challenge. He doesn't want the area with battle. When Bruno is your number 6, because no one else can play there, he's playing out balls because he's not at number 10. There's nowhere to pass to. And you're spraying up there and he's not even competing for a 50-50. That's where frustration comes.
I think the
frustrations come.
I can understand your point with Rashford, but again, he can't be one of those. He can't be one of the worst players do this based on his attacking output. Maybe we're going too hard to say he was. We're going too high to say he was his best because it does.
Bro,
It does.
I don't know.
Just
When
does have
we
a part
watch-
of it.
No, when
It-
we watch
there
the
is
game,
a part of it.
Yeah.
I think your reaction, your opinion list in the game has
Yeah.
been like sort of changed by the fact of what you see on social media and stuff.
I-
When we
I-
were talking right
I-
after
Yeah.
that,
no,
he was by far the best.
By far, like,
to finish this like logically and like make it make sense. Just give me a list of like guess the top 5 players from United from that game. Then we'll touch on Brighton. Who's
So
your
I'd
top
go
5?
Rashford 1,
Yeah,
Højlund 2.
yeah.
I don't even know who I'd put 3. But I'll probably do Reguilon,
yeah.
because he looked good attackingly.
Maybe
Reguilon's
Lindelof in there. Like
I think you have to put like Hannibal in that top 5. I know.
Hannibal.
I know he only played 20 minutes.
and
but,
Palacio
like,
was
Hannibal,
alright.
but it's like-
Palacio was alright.
And
Yeah,
maybe like Dalot.
I think Dalot and
I think your centre backs are so bad.
Yeah, you can't put. I'm not putting the centre
I
back.
feel
You
I feel
guys
bad
didn't
for
have the
I
balls,
feel
your
bad
midfield
for
was shut
Lindelof
bad.
because Martinez may as well not have. Like, he got skinned like so many times and looked so slow. And Lindelof was probably the best
Lisha was
play
really bad.
making
I
out the
think
back.
it's hard,
was
though.
really- No,
Like-
bro,
No,
Lisha
let me
was
talk.
bad.
Let
Lisha
me
was
talk.
bad.
Lisha was really bad, but I think you know that Martinez isn't going to be the greatest, like in terms of those one-on-one duels, and that's why when he plays with Varane,
It wasn't the jewels. It was the way he just got skinned.
Yeah, I
Like people
know.
just rolling. Like Gross was rolling him behind.
Well, even that
Weber
gross
coming
goal,
down.
that
Clean
gross goal,
finish.
like I know
That's on the
he's
midfield.
gone
That's on
for
the
the
midfield.
block, but like yeah,
That's on the
all
midfield.
3 goals
That's
on
on
the
the
midfield.
midfield. Yeah, yeah.
But I'm not saying going back. I just want to touch on it one more time, and then I'll
Yeah,
finish.
then we'll finish up.
Going back on the Bruno thing, if he wasn't told to play to drop. Fair enough.
Yeah, okay.
But if he's dropping because no one else is doing their role, he's leaving a space up top. It's not his job to drop unless he's been told to drop.
I just think Ericsson was
He can't
moving
just
there
drop
anyway. So
because he can't just drop and play 6, and then we have
Nah,
no 10.
I tend to think that Perez is right though, in the sense that he was like instructed to drop.
all I saw
even
was
if
I think it's
Ericsson.
hard to assume he's
Okay, so let's say
Ericsson
when he
started
dropped,
moving.
he played a good game. But when he was at 10 that first half, he was terrible.
I don't think Bruno
Because we were playing
played
down the
good.
flanks because
I
Rashford
don't-
was good.
I don't
Rashford
think
was good the
Bruno
first
played
20
good.
minutes.
I didn't see.
He was-
I
did
just didn't
nothing.
see Bruno on the ball, man.
He's got to.
I just
Bruno's got to
yeah.
touch the ball. Bang, bang, bang. He did nothing.
No, my
We
top
were
5.
bypassing. You go to your top 5.
My top 5 would have
Brian
been the
after that.
same as Rashford. Like for me, was like clear number 1.
Højlund too.
I thought Højlund was good,
I think it was
but as
very
you know, I
good.
also think that comes with like maybe little expectation to perform well. As
Yeah.
in like personally, at least in my head, it was like, okay, I have no idea what I'm going to get from Højlund.
Yeah,
So
fair
it's
enough,
like,
fair.
so him pressing and he looks good in the ball. He was turning well. He was definitely
Strength,
number 2.
yeah.
And then honestly, you're right. 3 to 5, like
Hannibal.
I think you got to put Reguilon.
I think
there.
Reguilon's
was
my
very
3.
impressive. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hannibal.
I agree. But and then like, I hate being one of these guys just put like a goal scorer in the team in the rank because of right.
But he
it's
brings something to
but
the
it's
game.
like at least he actually contributed to the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
picked up the ball, wasn't afraid to have a shot, and I think maybe it's like what you guys
Bit of passion as well.
Yeah,
Like, he
yeah.
actually got the crowd like up. Like
Yeah, so
when he went
and
out,
people were saying like he shouldn't celebrate like that when you're 3-0 down against.
the kid's first goal.
It's his first goal for the club at home. Like he didn't run to the corner and do a knee slide.
and
He
gave
did a
like that,
little. Yeah, I mean, I think that's harsh. I think he's probably like gets a mention at least, and then. And then I can't really name 3 players, more than 3 players who actually had a good 70, 90 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
And to summarize a game and talk a bit about Brighton, like Brighton just played their style of football to a T. And there was like, it was sitting there just frustrating because I'm obviously there to see United score goals. But at the same time, I was like, saying Dad next to me was like, props to Brighton. Like this is remarkable. Watch them just still, don't know, no one's pressing him, but he was just pinging balls left, right, and centre.
well, you'd be loving it if you were Jason Stewart playing that game.
Oh, he had so much
You're in
time on
the
the
team
ball.
because your ball use.
He was rolling the ball to almost
you
like
have all the time in the world.
outside the
It's
D. He was
unbelievable.
picking the ball at the D and rolling it forward and picking up passes. And I was like, Tarek Lamptey, I know no one was really on his side because none of the forwards, that side of forward had pressed him. Neither did Ericsson when he was out that side. And Bruno was sitting in too deep. So he had all his time in the world. But his work with Van der Broeken, I think, was on that other side as well. My God, the link up was awesome.
Nah,
to watch.
Lamptey was really good, but it's just funny to show. Like they have crazy depth, Brighton, man. Like, or
Ferguson didn't
they're
play.
building crazy depth. Like,
Still didn't play. Ferguson didn't play. Gilmore didn't play. And they're still passing out of the park.
Yeah, it's just like, because like he won't play again now. Like when the Swindon's back, like
They revert back to rotating that.
like Lamptey won't play.
Yeah.
Like so.
They're just so good on the ball.
But I thought he was good, and I thought he kind of showed a little bit why he was so hyped up a couple of years ago. Like
initially
he
coming
was
out.
always linked to some of the big clubs because he had that more attacking output, and he was really good. But
Even the goal,
that
Danny Welbeck,
yeah.
good goal.
Great ball. You were saying where the hell was he passing? That's the point, man. No one knew he was going to put that ball. That was such
and you know
a
what?
clean
Fair play to
ball.
Lallana. He did the whole step over. He sold Martinez with a step over. Martinez with a nice step over. Good. And I think it just shows Brighton are going to play.
Crazy how Lallana can like produce. That's the thing.
Lallana's
Lallana's like
playing good football.
His man was like watched like 5 years ago. Now he comes to Brighton and it's like
And James Milner now has won 4 times at Old Trafford with different teams, something like that now with Leeds, with Aston Villa.
He came on.
Liverpool, something like that. Yeah, or Man City, something like that. Yeah. It was, It just showed Brighton's coaching and their style of play can take them anywhere. They could play away in Europe at some like war-torn country, or they could play at Old Trafford with the nicest pitch. They're still going to.
We'll see the war-torn country play. I don't know what you're saying that by.
I reckon they can do that anywhere they can go.
Like, I hate to bring up like Ten Hag, right? Because I don't want, it's like it kind of feels like clickbaity, blah blah blah. But like, and it's not just Manchester's league, but you look at De Zerbi, right, and you think what has he got? What has he done to get Brighton playing so well? And the factors are like he's playing in a team which respects his authority to make the decisions about what they're going to do. So, he has absolute control over the way they're going to play, and he picks players who suit his game style. Like, I think when you look at Ten Hag, it feels unthinkable to drop Rashford. It does. It feels unthinkable to get rid of Rashford, right? But if Rashford isn't the guy to implement the way you want to play, and I don't think anyone said this. I think this is an opinion which no one said because Rashford's been so good.
He's just got goals.
But it's like...
But he saved Ten Hag his job as well last year to a degree.
No, I know. But if he's
Ten Hag would love him as well. It's not like Ten Hag.
But Orba won Mikel's FA Cup, which probably bought him a little bit of time as our coach, man. Like the same applies. Orba scored both goals in that game, but he put Zuma on his bum.
All I'll say though is like Garnacho and Pellistri suit
this is what I'm
the
saying.
Ten Hag system better than Rashford and
Garnacho and
Anthony.
Pellistri might not be the firstly, why do you buy Anthony then if he doesn't suit what you're saying?
Well, he hadn't seen Pellistri, I don't think yet. And I think when Amad Diallo comes back as well, he'd even be a better suit as a striker than Rashford would be as a second striker.
Like,
you know what I mean?
It's
like
almost
he's a better player in that role.
It's almost like an unthinkable opinion to say though. Like, Rashford's so good to get rid of him. But the point is that
you're gonna make a statement.
But you two are arguing here about like, was Rashford good or bad? Because you're saying he was the best player on the pitch in terms of his creative output, but you're saying as in he didn't do anything for the team.
No,
it's like
the system doesn't work with him.
If this was PSG, Rashford would be fine. If this was PSG last year, Rashford would be the best player on the pitch because that's the way they operate.
Yeah.
They had 9 players. Sorry, they had 8 players on the pitch who'd play their style, and then they had the 3 guys on top who do what they want. It's like this is where you got to make some tough calls as Ten Hag, man. And I think if this isn't the guy to take me forward the way I want to play, then let me cash in. It's like Coutinho with Klopp a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It's like
that bought them the whole new
they got
generation.
140 mil for Coutinho. You can get how old is Rashford? 26, 27?
Something like that. Yeah, being his 25,
25.
26. Yeah.
Like, how much is Rashford in today's market? 150 mil?
100 mil. Yeah.
Honestly, he's probably his minimum.
English tax.
120, I reckon.
Minimum
tax.
He's a minimum 100 mil, right?
Yeah.
What you can do with 100 mil nowadays, maybe not with United's business, but as in most teams, right? What you can do with 100 mil will allow you guys to fill some gaps, man. You'll be able to get 2 wingers who can play a role rather,
get a central midfielder. You can actually play central midfield.
Rather than getting these star guys who are going to, save his job but not make you progress, because that's the point. You look at Brighton, they invest in players who are going to fit the system, and in the system they can excel, and then they sell for all this big money because they look so good in the system. We're yet to see it. We're yet to see any of them prove their worth. Kukurea hasn't done anything. Casado obviously got injured, but like, and now we're just suddenly seeing, Basuma come good.
Yeah, come good at
because
system.
And just playing in a system where he can excel.
Yeah.
It's about getting players who, and I just don't think Ten Hag maybe has bitten the bullet yet on some of these players. And I know the Rashford one's really tough.
That's very tough though. Like,
no, it is, but you got to make the tough calls. Why have United been in the same position now for 10 years? Have you guys made any tough calls on players like Rashford? You haven't.
I agree with you, and if that's what Ten Hag wants to do to play his game style, fair play. But I think there's a lot of tough calls he's got to make before Rashford.
I don't know. I tend to agree. There's a lot of decisions he has to make
before Rashford.
But no,
it's a bit like when I go back to the De Gea Onana thing. I think Onana De Gea thing. Going back to it, Onana was needed at the club or someone of that caliber.
Why do you not think the Rashford thing's big? Why do you not think that? I think this is kind of the problem.
Because I think that United getting 120 million was really that big of a deal.
But when Aubameyang was scoring goals for us,
no
one thought it was a big deal either. And then suddenly it stopped, and him being the team saver, papering over all the cracks with his last minute goals, getting us points here and there.
Oh yeah, when the Rashford stops doing that, he gets sold as well.
I know, but even if Rashford scores, we've seen the best you guys can do when he does that. He saves Ten Hag his job. I just don't know.
Well, that's why Ten Hag doesn't want to get rid of him.
But how far? But no, you got to listen though. I'm saying
Sometimes
I
take a
know
step back
what
to go
Rashford
forwards.
can do. He can save the man his job, but he can't excel. Like, it depends what Ten Hag wants to do. Does he want to take a risk and try and bring this team to the very top? Or is he happy to try and stay complacent, get results here and there from Rashford wonder seasons,
Individual
bangers here and there,
brilliances, yeah.
And if that's going to be the case, then the fan base has to accept that Rashford isn't going to track back. He's not going to do this. You can sit back and act like a small club where you sit back at home against Brighton, who we thought were going to finish ninth place and had a team value of 16 mil. Their team value was 16.7 mil in transfer value, right? You can sit back at home against those guys and lose possession and get battered and, build up play. Or you can try and act like a big team, get young players in there, make tough calls, have a manager with some authority.
You know this stuff, though. I'm not going to say there's anything
No, it
against
seems so reactionary with Rashford. I get it.
No. I'm not even that.
I think it more epitomises the situation.
Again, there's this like aura at the moment around, and I know this contradicts Ten Hag's style, but there's this aura at the moment about you've got to play good football. You've got to
I agree, but you just said it just then. It contradicts Ten Hag's style.
Yeah.
Also, get a manager who does that in. Get a manager.
If you want to
get
play
Mourinho back.
If you want to play Ten Hag style of football, you got to commit to
what?
it.
Like
and that logically right now it appears to be a few
Ten
players.
Hag was
and
never really a
big
ball playing thing. It was a bit.
So why'd you sign Onana? Why'd you sign Onana?
It was a bit like a Klopp
So why
type of
did
style.
he
came in with
why
the
did he
promise
sign
of playing
Onana?
ball.
Ten Hag's most similar manager to Ten Hag style would be Klopp.
So why did he sign
I'd say.
Onana? Why did he sign Onana then?
That's a good point. Why did you say that?
I don't know myself.
We got promised. We got promised.
So
We got
you
promised
got-
ball playing at the back with Martinez and ball playing out with Varane,
There
and
was
now
all
ball
this,
playing with
maybe I'm
Onana.
tripping, but I swear there was all this noise about how you're going to be a ball playing, build up, play team.
Well, Ten Hag
and,
never
Keep
played like
up
that
with
at
Liverpool.
Ajax.
Keep up with Man
Like,
City. Like, this
this
stuff.
shit, he's not. It's not
Ten
really-
Hag was all
this
about
thing
the press,
isn't really
not
like-
about the ball playing. It was all about winning the ball up in the final third.
It came with
Well,
both.
if you know if Rashford's not going to press, then sell the guy, man. Like I just think that the reasons I have for me thinking Ten Hag isn't going to succeed isn't because I think maybe or isn't because he hasn't shown it completely in the past.
I just don't think Red Ten Hag has a problem with it, because if Ten Hag wanted Rashford to press, he'd pull him aside and go, "You gonna press?"
I just find it interesting that the new guy comes in and does it.
I think he's scared of Rashford getting injured or something like that.
From pressing.
Bro, what?
What's pressing to do?
I think Ten Hag's more scared of the player who kept him his job last year, turning around and saying to him, "Who are you to tell me what to do after I saved you your job?" And then
Another ego thing at the room.
And then Rashford easily taking the dressing room and Ten Hag losing it and getting sacked. Like I think that's what he's scared about, not Rashford getting injured. I mean, there's you got to look at the guys who've already been there. You got the Sancho incident, you got the Ronaldo incident.
Maguire as well now.
This guy clearly doesn't demand or maybe he tries to demand respect.
Too
He doesn't
much.
do it the
He does
right
it
way.
too much,
He's
yeah.
not doing it the right way. Ronaldo said, "Man, call me like a Ronaldo fanboy, blah blah blah." But he said, "I didn't feel like he respected me, so why am I going to respect him
back?" Yeah.
If you have the best,
But he
you
didn't
have the best
respect him
player.
because he didn't. I don't know so much about the Ronaldo thing. I'm going to agree here with the Sancho one. But with the Ronaldo one, you know what? Ronaldo is just Ronaldo who wanted to play games and wasn't playing games.
No,
And was never going to play games.
I think he would.
Well, I think
he would have.
if Ronaldo's problem was not pressing, how it was documented, then what's the
But he
difference
wasn't
with
scoring
Rashford?
goals either. Again, if Rashford stops scoring goals, I guarantee he's going to go as well.
But do you not think that's just a little bit dumb though? No.
You're a fool. You've got to score goals. If you stop scoring goals, you don't play.
But there should
him.
be a system in place which doesn't rely on one player
score
scoring
goals.
goals.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, unfortunately, Højlund has only played one game, so we don't have that other player yet.
oh my
Maybe
god.
once Højlund starts scoring goals.
I cannot agree with you at all on this at all.
Well,
I agree with you on Rashford being the best player on the pitch on the weekend, but I mean the long term view.
No, you're right in the long-term view, but if you're Ten Hag, what are you going? Who's scoring me my goals?
If you
can
I
find
mean, what
him
do
to
you
score.
mean? If you were Ten Hag and you just gave Brighton's team in the weekend, I got Danny Welbeck up top. How am I going to score goals? They just scored 3 goals at Old Trafford. What do you mean?
a system will score you goals if the system works.
It's like, I look at my team. I got a 100 mil right winger. Who didn't play on the weekend, but the week before,
I'm not
I
playing.
got the best. I got the bloody best Premier League player on the left. I got my 70 mil wonder kid striker up top, and I got Bruno Fernandes. I got all these guys who are going to score goals.
How am I score goals?
And then you tell me, how am I going to score goals? It's like, you literally just versed a 16.7 mil transfer value team on the weekend who had Danny Welbeck up top.
He got sold for United because he wasn't good enough.
I don't know what you're going to tell me.
Because you're basing you're acting like, I said to you, if Rashford doesn't score goals, then then Ten Hag loses his job, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, that's what Forward's going to do. They're going to score goals. And it's like, you look at the system on the weekend for Brighton, they have a system which allows them to score goals through a variety of passages, right? Like, whereas United, it's just like, get the ball to Rashford, inshallah, man. Like,
I hope he just skims someone and cross the ball.
I don't know how it's so complicated to understand.
We'll move on from it because we drag on about most weeks. But yeah, there's a lot of problems. Big chance of game to fix up.
It's valid though, bro. It's like,
100%.
valid. Like,
and I think people have signed up. That's what I'll finish with that. I feel like at the same, people are starting to realize that some of the problem isn't. It's starting to creep in more and more apparent. Like the inability to cross the ball, the disconnect in midfield. It's looking like that Tottenham team with the disconnect.
It felt like it was so reactionary because you just lost to us in a game which you could have won.
But when you're at home,
it was more. It's more of like an indication. It was more like what is actually going on beneath the surface.
Yeah. Deep down, you want to ignore it, but it got brought to the surface now.
Rather than like the fact because you could have won that game, and I still would have said the same thing. To be completely honest,
it would cover up like if we'd won. That's the thing, though. 100%. Cover it up.
But that's Anyway,
we're moving. I'm running a bit late for what's coming up next. We'll skip through a few of the games. Newcastle won, Brentford 0. Another game when Newcastle played right, but still not looking anywhere near last season. Get a lucky penalty, I think. Yeah. Was it a penalty? I'm not really sure.
They didn't create much in the first half.
Brentford sat in a nice sort of like 5 at the back and sort of just kept them out.
Half-time though, so.
Well, it felt like Brentford were wanting the point. They got close to it and just won. Like
finally, when we're in judgment. Oh my god.
I want to Vissa missed a chance right at the end as well. I needed him to score for my weekend, but unfortunately not to be. We always talk about the Chelsea game. And before we talk about Arsenal, we'll talk about Forest and Burnley. A 1-1 draw there. Another chance for Burnley to get something done, but I guess
they're still looking for their first win.
They get a point, I guess.
They
got United this weekend.
Wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. But I agree. I think everyone just jumps too early. If we lose this week, then there's serious questions on Ten Hag.
Oh, 100%. And just one more thing. One more question.
We'll talk about Burnley,
about Rashford. Is that like you just said before about like, if Rashford doesn't score goals, then it's like, like get him out of the team, you can sell him. But it's like, we are both saying Rashford was the best player on the weekend and he didn't get a goal or assist. You know what I mean? You can still play well and not contribute. I understand if it's game after game after game, it becomes a repetitive thing, but it's like, I think, what you're saying is true, but it's also like, I just think Rashford can still play well, at least what we thought, and not get that
I don't think Rashford played well. I just think he played well compared to all the other United players.
I've converted him.
That's the first one.
No. Travel with me. Travel with me.
We're comparing him to the other United players. Compared to them, he was the best on the pitch by far.
Yeah, no, I know.
But what I'm saying is, if you compare it to the Brighton players, Brighton players on the pitch have played better.
All 11 players were better than him.
Yeah, to be honest,
probably
all 11.
Actually, all 14.
That's where I'm coming at. So you're saying Rashford played amazing. Well, he still didn't score or assist. I know he was close to it. He was United's best player, but I never said that he was like the best.
Let's not talk about United.
Yeah, let's keep stopping.
Obviously, a good goal for Hudson-Odoi first game at Forest.
Yeah.
They've got so much talent. They've got Origi there now. And one using another assist. Hudson-Odoi, Alanga's looking good now. They've just got so much up front. Like, they just need to keep clean sheet. Like, obviously,
they didn't get the win though.
You've got to keep the clean sheet against Burnley, man. Burnley are not that good. Zeke Mdooney gets his first goal for Burnley. He's looked like likely for a few weeks. And Foster thought he had the winner.
Yeah, I did say that.
You called him early. This guy just gets in the area and gets in a good spot.
A bit Brexit.
He is. He just finds a spot and just tap the ball in. Another chance like that. Again, big game this weekend for Burnley. If they get a win, I hope you just spark
honestly,
their season.
Oh my god!
I can see it happening.
If Burnley win, bro, the pressure is going to be on that man.
They're not stopping playing.
Especially if you guys get slapped up tomorrow by Bayern. Where are you playing, home or away?
Away, at the Allianz against Harry.
You're playing away.
Yeah, I just don't know. I want to watch the game first because it's so United.
It's so we were saying so Spurs before. It's so United.
Look back at United back on the PSG game. We were like under the pump and everything. Ole,
bounce back FC, man.
Bang.
I reckon you're living off the game, to be honest.
And then the final game, we'll touch a little bit on Arsenal at the start of the episode, but we sort of ran out the game. Yeah. A big 1-0 win against Everton. The whole stigma now.
Yeah, more of a morale thing.
For me, that was the turn last season. That was just from my point of view because that week coming up, I was like, Sean Dyche's going to win. Like, it's going to happen. This year they go there, beat him up.
It did feel that, man. It
was
feel
revenge.
That last year. It was scary.
It was revenge for last season. I feel like it's another step in the right direction. Despite what's going on with injuries and the like, you haven't got
hopefully
full team together yet.
Is all good. I haven't seen.
He's fine.
I haven't seen what the outcome of that is, but it's never good, man. Like when a player goes down for like an innocuous injury,
it's always dangerous.
And then it comes straight off. Like, It's never good.
But yeah, you definitely work it out. And I feel like this weekend, obviously this week with the Champions League and what's coming up this weekend, if you get a few more wins, especially in Champions, I know it's PSV, but then you've ticked that box as well. You're ticking boxes off every single week, it feels like. And mentally to get over that
it'll
barrier.
be a massive week this week if we go from like obviously beating Everton away, Champions League win, and then beating
beat Tottenham.
Spurs. That'd be a huge win for our season.
That's 10 out of 10, surely.
Yeah.
And we talk about that weekend, the week coming up, it's a big game. Like, obviously, we're watching it, but like, how do you reckon you change things to adapt to them? Or are you going to play your style throughout the game?
Oh no, I think we'll definitely play our style, like 100%.
Not be
we will play like we're at that stage now where we've gone through the process of getting up to where we can play our style against anyone.
Yeah,
and I think we will play a high possession based, attacking style against every team in the league now, even City. City away, I think we'll go and try and do that.
Definitely.
Yeah. So look, just to touch on the Everton game, like, I thought Fabio Vieira came in. I said this a couple weeks ago. Fabio Vieira is so much more suited to that position as the 8 next to Rice.
Can connect a bit more.
Yeah,
the fit.
He's just so much better on the ball.
Yeah,
Havertz came on, had a good cameo, but it just clearly hasn't clicked yet. Like in that sort of style for what we're trying to get out of Havertz. Clearly, Arteta sees something, but I'm not sure what it is.
He benefits the mold, right? He benefits what that role has been for you last season.
Vieira,
yeah,
100%. Like he fits that mold so well.
Do you think he plays like
he fits that mold like Bernardo Silva.
Yeah,
yeah, I think he starts this weekend. He was like he was probably our best player in the first half.
You do again, test him against PSV, play him for 50 minutes. If he looks good,
I think he'll start. I think Havertz will definitely start in that spot.
Havertz another chance.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Will Fabio Vieira start on the weekend?
Yeah, but I feel like
No,
seen the Champions
It's not really a chance. It's a PSV.
Yeah,
They're going to beat PSV.
Our team this weekend will be really good.
Because playing Everton's one thing, but
I'm certain Havertz will play on Wednesday.
I don't think you'll play that strong Wednesday. You'll play strong. Like 2 or 3 will drop out.
Mate, it's their first Champions League. It's their first Champions League game in 8 years, whatever it is.
Yeah, no. So to be fair, you got to factor that in. It's our first. But no. So to be fair, so Jesus will come in for Nketiah.
Yeah.
Trossard. The left could be either Trossard or Nelson or Smith Rowe. They could all play on the left.
Why don't you sit for once? I want to see him play.
And then Havertz will come in for Vieira. Rice will play, and then left back will be Kiwior, and right back will be Tomiyasu.
On the whole Vieira thing, I know he started against Everton, but Everton's different, right, to a Champions League. Do you not reckon playing a Champions League tie in preparation for Tottenham is better? Do you not reckon?
It's hard to play.
I know
you're right. Because it's such a
I know, but
it's more of like a
Everton's not really a challenge. Look,
you got to give Havertz the go though.
I think Havertz definitely plays.
You've got to.
It's a big week. We talk about how big this week is. Like, we want to prepare him.
I don't think you've seen that Havertz has played and you still won. I don't think it'll be a big issue if Havertz plays and does nothing.
That's just my point of view. Get him 50 minutes and then...
If Havertz plays tomorrow, though, or Thursday
morning, yeah.
And like scores like a brace, does he start against Spurs? I don't think
the thing is, Arteta will probably play him though, right?
Nah,
I disagree.
Bro, Arteta's a...
He's being a madman.
He's a meritocracy man, bro.
He's
Vieira,
he's stubborn. He's very stubborn.
Vieira's been so good in every cameo he's made, and that start on the weekend, he's probably been our best player. Like,
definitely.
I reckon
he should be starting to get. I don't know.
Bro, Vieira is Bernardo Silva. Like, they're both not even because they're both Portuguese and like kind of small and skinny. Bro, it's not that. It's the ball playing. Like they're both so clean on the ball.
He'd be perfect for Liverpool.
And they play that midfield role.
Liverpool.
Vieira would like
him and McAllister. Can you imagine those two as a midfield?
He's McAllister except a little bit less defensive. Like, in terms, it doesn't pick
he
up
can play a bit more progressive, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no. Vieira looks, he's coming good, man. And it's so good to see because he's just like, I don't know what it is about him. You just love him as like an Arsenal fan.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is, but
everyone gets around him.
No, it's good though. Nah, I'm so good to get that win and it's a massive week.
Huge week for you guys. We'll close out this week on the channel with a watch along. Let's finish with winners and losers. I haven't really prepared you for this one. My winners this week, I'm going to go with Tottenham again. I know we talk a lot, but just to get over that stigma, right? It's probably going to be the same with you, with where you're probably going to go with, but the stigma is over.
Next.
No more Spursy.
No, you always go next. I go last.
Yeah, my winner, Brighton.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like, I'm not going to keep it the same as you as Tottenham, so I thought I'd change it up. Like, to obviously, United have been completely terrible, but still to go to Old Trafford. It's a big deal to go to
Old Trafford, yeah.
And, like, not just win, play the way they've done. They're the
2
last
and 2 years.
2 teams.
Yeah.
So, Man United's last home loss was match week 1 last year.
Brighton.
2 to Brighton, 2-1.
This year.
And then they've done it again. So, like, they're the last 2 teams to beat United.
In, like, over a year
so it's actually not... Even though United have been terrible, it's not an easy, feat.
It's never placed
whatsoever.
Yeah.
So... Yeah.
We saw Forest. Forest had a good start.
Am I doing loser now?
What do you lose altogether next?
My winner, Richarlison. After,
Oh, like
after
that.
his
Oh,
win,
like that.
after his-
Yeah,
after
yeah.
his bad week,
The pigeon.
I like that.
he came on and got the.
It was good vibe. The Tottenham and just gets a good vibe. The Tottenham.
Fair
mate.
enough.
And losers, I feel like we all want to say, but you know what? It's got to be Man United, right? Like,
Yeah.
half because I travelled 40 hours.
Bro, you're the loser.
You know what?
you're the
I'll
loser.
change.
You're
I'll change it.
actually the loser.
I'm the loser.
Bro,
No, I'm gonna call Plezas my loser.
Bro, that is crazy. You're actually
you know
the
what?
loser.
We
bro.
get that. I'm the loser. I travelled 40 hours to watch
Oh
them
my
get.
God.
You know what? They had a good 20 minutes, and I was excited
You
for
had
20
more
minutes.
time on the plane than you did on the ground, and you saw them
And
get battered.
3-1. But I got some
Yeah.
Deserby ball in person. So when he goes
Yeah,
and
that's
coaches
cool.
Barca in
Nah,
2
bro,
years' time,
sick
I was
ass,
like, yeah.
so sick.
Yeah.
You got anything different for losers?
That's my loser.
Losers?
Your
Outside Man
team?
United,
Rashford.
Rashford.
Yeah.
I've converted him across. I converted him.
What?
No, I'm explaining why he's my loser.
Yeah, go, because I'm bro.
I've converted one of you.
How do I even messages up there? How do I like?
Nah,
Just say
I'll
this.
explain why he's my loser. Like, I think, no, let me rephrase how I've said it. The comments on Rashford. I'm really excited. The comments on Rashford.
Okay.
So I think that, like, what the bloke's done for United, like, he's had one bad season, and then, obviously, it's only Flynn Tyson, but, like, there's
What
other.
do you mean he's having one bad season?
What do you mean? He's only had one bad season
Oh, you mean in his career?
in his
That
career.
Ronaldo
That's
year.
not true.
He's
He's
had-
had two.
yeah,
He had two.
No,
The Ronaldo year and
And then it was 2 years before that.
well,
he
when he's
bad
like
as well.
19.
Bro, he's
no,
not
it was the.
He's not that young, man.
It was not.
He's
the
only
Europa
gone
League,
under
the year
11.
before,
He's only gone under 11 Premier League goals in one season.
which was the Ronaldo year.
Ronaldo, yeah.
Okay.
And so maybe the other one was an average year, but it wasn't a bad year.
But he's off the bench most.
Yeah.
Yeah, where are you going with this? Where are you going with this?
Like, everyone's, like, jumping on how bad he was and stuff. But,
Bro,
like,
I said he was the best player on the pitch. I'm just saying it's in 10
I'm not talking about you.
ball. You just name dropped me 20 seconds ago.
I feel like it's
When
more
Dyson-
the UK audience.
Yeah, no.
yeah, obviously, like, you watch it from the ground. But, like, not everyone that's been commenting on him watched that game at the ground.
That's what I'm saying.
So it
I'm
makes
saying
no
it's
sense
the
to me.
UK
So,
audience. Like
if
everyone
it's-
over there.
If it's for you to make that comment makes complete
yeah, yeah.
sense.
No, you're right.
Yeah, okay.
Because you've gone to the game, you've
these
seen
guys
stuff
on
that we
Twitter
can't
and
see.
stuff. Yeah.
There's people like Twitter, these media like personnel who are going on about it, who watch the game the exact same as me and me
true,
and Flynn.
true.
So what are they seeing on the TV when they're spanning to the defense and they can't even? He's out of picture. What are they seeing?
You've got no
I
ball
don't
knowledge.
know
That's
what
not. That's saying you
so
watch ball
yeah,
knowledge.
I'll leave it at that. Like,
Fair enough. I like it. You're passionate about it.
Oh, my loser. Probably have to go. Probably have to go Sheffield, to be honest. Like, I know I said
Another tough.
Richarlison, but like, it's more about Sheffield home form rather than like,
On the road.
yeah.
Just because they
anything.
keep getting in positions, right? They keep
Yeah, you-
getting there.
like they could be in like a really nice spot so far this season.
14th,
you know,
15th,
coming
something like
to the
that,
league, but yeah, no, it's not good.
Tough week.
Burnley also around in there, like in the sense, just in general, like
Yeah.
haven't got a win yet, obviously.
Yeah. And obviously Luton is still
so,
pointless.
Pointless.
and more than likely they're going to end up 0-6
Yes.
or 0-1-6 where they are by the end of this game week. So
Definitely.
yeah.
Well, again, another big week ahead.
Yeah.
Actually, there's never not a big week in the Premier League. Obviously, Champions League during the week.
Oh,
I'll be
massive
up
week.
tonight and tomorrow watching that. Probably 'cause I'll be jet
Just
lagged.
a good
but
week. Like just like
It's
just
just-
so
it-
far.
Football
it's
fans
alright.
love
The
these little
12:45 one's alright because I'll get some study done when I go home and then jump onto that.
And punch
Yeah,
it
but
out.
then you don't go to bed till like
Oh, nothing.
2:30 in the morning.
2:30. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Whereas with the 3 ones, you kind of go to bed.
Bed and
wake
wake
up
up.
and
Crazy,
get going for your
people
day.
aren't watching in like Perth and like they're thinking.
No,
what
Eastern
time-
States, they have it
They're thinking like
6 a.m. in the
what
morning.
times it is,
Yeah.
like, 3. We have to get up at 3 to watch the Champions League.
Yeah, I
Are you
know.
serious?
That's what you do for the love of the game, eh?
Bro, are
Love
you
of the game.
serious, man? That's crazy.
We've mentioned it multiple
Football
times.
heritage.
This is
This is
football
football.
heritage.
This is football.
We mentioned it multiple times, but we will do it. We'll come back again Sunday, 9 p.m. Australian Western Time, 12 over in the East,
You'll
whatever
see
that is in
converted
England.
United fans into Spurs jerseys.
I might go buy an Ange shirt. no,
Bro,
I'm
Spurs-
actually really excited to watch just both teams. I love watching exciting.
I think
football.
it's there's a lot sort
Hyped
of
up.
like there's a lot of unknown.
Is this the
about
biggest
this
game of the season so far? Can we say that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100 yes, 100%.
yeah.
I think it has to be, right?
100%.
Yeah.
No big.
I don't know. United, Arsenal. Obviously, the teams United are crap, but it's a bigger fixture.
Yeah. Okay.
No. Oh.
Or over there,
In
I think
my
it's
calendar,
North London derby over
in
there.
my calendar, I think Spurs is bigger.
It's a biggest
At the
derby.
over the last few years, I think
Oh,
Spurs is bigger.
Yeah, fair.
Because United and Spurs are both in shit.
Definitely. And we'll try and get Jared here if he can make it. We'll get Jared on
No,
the
I
couch as well.
might as well
And we'll actually love some more reactions from Flynn and Jared on the floor, kneeling on the
Yeah,
floor.
some of the
hopefully,
stuff he was saying.
hopefully.
And we'll try and keep
Last
the
time,
Greenwood slander to
I'd be a
it.
bit concerned bringing Jared on with some of those comments.
Chelsea.
We'll wrap this week's up. Been good to be back at it. Another week gone down, another week to come. I'm really excited. We'll see you guys next week, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video.